Hey everybody, how we doing? I missed you. We're still waiting on our guest here for a little bit, so I figured I'd hop on and chat with y'all while we're waiting for, like I said, our guest. I hope everyone had a great week. It's been a minute. I'm excited. It's gonna be a big show. We got a lot to talk about. Some fantastic questions. Some silly stuff that I'm gonna do to make Joe mad, but you know what? It's all good. Yeah. So, how was everyone week? Play anything good? I hope you have. I've been playing something pretty crazy. Nothing like, major embargoed or whatnot, but something that I was not expecting to be caught up in, which I'll talk about later when we're on the show itself. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Like I said, it's weird not having Joe here. I feel free. I'm free as a bird now. Ooh-wee. Did I miss any news last week? I don't know. Seemed like a slow news week last week. Ay. We're only going to talk about it a little bit here. Just a little bit. Because, frankly, I don't care anymore. I know some people think that that's stupid, but I don't care about that. I'm so over the ABK thing. It's done. Let's just go. What up, Kyle? Much love, freedom. That's right. I feel like William Wallace, the end of Braveheart. Which, fun fact, I have not seen. I own it. It's on the shelf back there. One day I'll watch it. I don't know why I haven't seen it. I just don't know. Only a little bit. We're only going to talk about the Call of Duty thing, and that's it. I promise, I swear. I'm the one that does not want to talk about it in the slightest, but it is PlayStation related, so we'll chat about it briefly. I'm so excited for y'all to meet my guest this week. Darren is awesome, and we're going to have a good time. And we'll get to know Darren in the main show and that, so I don't want to spoil too much, but whenever we run into each other at PAX, it's always a good time. What about you, chat? What have we been up to? It's been a whole week, almost 2 weeks since I've last seen and talked to you. Well, that's not true. I hopped in chat a little bit last week and nobody answered me or saw me, so I was being a little cheeky. Let me check in on our guest while you guys are piling in by the thousands and thousands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, Oh man. Every single time I sit at my desk, I just look over and I see this Lego Hulk that I need to put together at some point. I'm a sucker for these like superhero armor Lego sets. Who do I got? You can't really see because it's dark. I don't like the bright light down here. But I got Wolverine. I've got Spider-Man, Thanos, Black Panther, Spidey, and Thor, I think. And Iron Man. Back there on the movie shelves at some point. So I gotta find a spot for this Hulk. Because this is cool. Eric, just playing Diablo, Destiny 2, and now waiting for Remnant 2. Yeah. I remember watching previews for Remnant 2 after Summer Game Fest. And yeah, it seems like everyone that loved the first one or liked it enough thinks that they are updating and upgrading the second one to address all the problems. So that's pretty good. Oh, this Hulk thing is like, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes tops. It's not long. Back when we were all stuck inside on lockdown, we used to host, not here at the Trophy Room, but at 61 Indie, we used to host like watch-alongs. So we watched Captain, or oh my god, what is that name? Oh, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, through a site where we could watch all together with community members. And I used to build them during that, and there'd be like an episode, half an episode, to finish one of those Lego pieces. You never played the first Remnant? Okay. I think it's a 3-person thing, right? Like a 3-person. Hello! Hi, Darren. I don't see you yet. I hear you. Or I heard you. Oh, you can't hear me. There we go. I forgot I was muted on Discord. Raise you up here. There he is. What's up, buddy? Doing well. How was your day? Oh, okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I get that.
Right. How about yourself? How's your day going?
It's hot, man.
Man, I'm right there with you, bro. Right there with you.
It's way too hot out here.
Seeing that summer heat is kicking in. Doesn't matter where you are right now.
Yeah, it's bad.
Hi.
Joe, go away. You're supposed to be on break.
Well, I'm really excited, and I just want to say I wish you guys have an excellent show.
Thank you. It's going to be absolute
Bye,
chaos,
Joe.
and I'm here for it. Thank you so much.
Also, I love you guys. Darren, you're gonna do great, and Kyle, I just want you to know I'm a piece of shit.
I mean, you announced that we're on the pre-show. I hope everyone, you know that. Everyone heard that.
Bless you.
Did you happen to hop into that Zencaster link?
I have not. Let me
Okay.
Go ahead and take care of that right now.
And like I said in the Twitter message, you can mute that tab in the browser, so that way you don't get double audio. But yeah, I for some reason the volume sources switched. Skizny, Mackenzie, but we good. Yeah.
Perfect.
Clip that. Yeah, somebody clip it.
Piece of shit. You're beautiful. It's okay.
So what people don't know is whenever we hop onto a call together to do a show or just, to talk about things, that's how he starts it off when I hop on the video. Hi, I'm a piece of shit.
Oh, there's that.
Okay, sweet. I see you're in there.
Let me see. I think I got it taken care of.
You got the if you click on the green check mark on the right side of like where your waveform would be.
Yes.
What is it the right mic?
See that default? Oh, let me. Yeah, I need to switch that up.
Okay,
Too. Oh,
good.
God.
Good thing I mentioned
Yeah,
that.
no.
And chat, how's Darren sound? Do I have to raise him up? Eric,
Let me know if I sound pretty sexy or not.
yeah.
I'd love
Let
to
him know if he
that.
sounds sexy or not. It's Eric and Chad saying I had to get myself a neck fan. Hopefully the sweat doesn't fall in the vents and shock me. You know what's was a game changer when I worked at a bunch of baseball fields, like the local park. I bought like those cooling towels. Have you ever seen those, Darren?
Too cool. See, no, I haven't seen the cooling towels, but cooling blankets have been changing my life, and I
Ooh.
need to get myself. Those have been
Yeah.
lifesavers in the heat as of late.
Yeah.
Let me see. How do I mute you on here?
On where? Which one?
On
Zencaster?
Zencaster, yeah.
So the tab at the top of the browser, like where you have multiple tabs open, where it says Zencaster, you can right click it, and then there should be an option of like mute site.
Mute site. Bow. Perfect. Okay.
Okay, and
There
just
we
talk
go.
a little bit. Make sure I got your levels all right.
All right. Let's see. Hello, hello. Do I sound good? Do I sound right?
There
Let
you
me
go.
know, please, please. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, hello, hello.
Perfect. All right. Darren, do you have any questions before we get into it?
I'll take a look at all the notes and everything, and I'm just like,
Okay.
whoa, okay, cool. I've been talking about this the past couple days, so I'm
Yeah.
like, we good.
Yeah.
We good. I clowned one of my boys, Cameron, on Sunday when we recorded, because he brought up the Last of Us 2 stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, okay, cool. But he like had no information about it ready. So I'm just like, really, bro? All right, what? Thanks. Oh, so prepared for, and you're the one who brought this up. Thanks, bro.
Don't you love that? Like,
Oh,
hey, I
every
heard about
time.
this thing. Yeah. Go ahead, talk about it.
Okay, well, you know what? Let me look it up.
I heard it, I
Prepared.
heard it somewhere that it might be a thing.
Hey.
All right.
Oh, we good to go. I'm
Sweet.
gonna get into things.
Yeah. So I figured to start the show off, I'll let you introduce yourself and get to know you a little bit better. I'm just now focusing like on your backdrop. Holy crap! What a room, man.
Thank you.
Look at
Thank you.
that.
The newest addition to things.
Oh, what is that?
Rain code.
Oh,
Not
sweet.
Danganronpa.
Yeah, is that the subtitle?
I mean, it should be.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts when you play it, because I love Danganronpa. Didn't love the third
Same.
one, but
I thought it was wild enough, and the direction that it went, I was like, oh, this is all weird and stupid, but it
Yeah.
makes sense in Danganronpa world. So I'm like,
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
it was clever with its naming convention for sure. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you told us at the start, and I was dumb. I was dumb and ignorant, didn't know.
Yeah, Danganronpa is worth a playthrough for sure.
You bet.
All right, Darren, are you ready?
I am ready to go when you are.
All
sir.
right, chat. We'll see you in a minute.
Need to have you on soon. Need to have you on soon.
Oh, you know what would help, Darren? If I hit record on Zencaster for the audio. See, Joe's usually in charge of that. Okay, good. All right, YouTube. You're welcome. Okay, here we go. 3, 2,
I'm trying to get
1.
like y'all.
Oh, wait no longer. Greatness has arrived. Welcome to episode 333 of The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, aka Mr. K-Step, and it is here where me and my best friend Joe talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. This week we were talking about Call of Duty remaining on PlayStation for the next decade, The Last of Us composer hinting at a Part 2 re-release, Rift Apart, PC specs, PlayStation's accessibility controller, tons of Flash news, and so much more as we do it live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/@PS Trophy Room. Also, whether you're watching the show live, the VOD on YouTube, or on your podcast app of choice, I suggest using hashtag House of Bangers to talk about the episode and show on social media. Feel free to tag at PS Trophy Room as well as Mr. Babbitt to let him know whose house this really is. But before we get into the show, let me introduce my guest, because Joe is not here this week. Darren Simmons Jr. of Rusty Rupees podcast. How you doing, Darren?
I'm good, Kyle. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, very long time. Every single time I run into you, because I've only run into you at PAX East.
Yes.
To be clear.
East and
yeah, I haven't made it to PAX West. Or anything other than kind of funny events in San Fran, but yeah,
we might have seen each other at prom, honestly, a couple years back too.
That's totally fair. That is totally fair. Yeah, we run into each other at PAX East, and we just have a great time. I think this year was great when we were just at the bar, just chilling.
Absolutely,
afterwards.
It was just a good time.
That was a good time.
Yes.
So yeah, people who don't know you, Darren, where are you from? What kind of games you into? And tell us about Rusty Rupees.
So, hi everybody. My name is Darren. I am one of the hosts and editors of the Rusty Rupees podcast, where we do kind of the same thing as you guys. Talk about video game news, anime, movies, talk a lot of shit amongst one another because we're those kind of guys. Yeah. But overall, we just kind of have a good time as we go through the news. Like I said, we also stream daily, Monday through Sunday, twitch.tv/RustyRupees, where we all, it's me and my three boys, Deontay, Justin, and Cameron. We each have our own individual days where we kind of spread our own individual gaming tastes as we stream. Tekken Tuesday every Tuesday, Ooh. If you like that, just to throw hands, as well as the Sunday Streets now that Street Fighter 6 has come out. But yeah, we just have a good time, play these video games, talk a lot of shit with one another, and try to go out in events and have a good time, man.
Hell yeah. Upcoming Tekken 8.
Upcoming Tekken 8. I'm trying to put my feelers out there for this beta that is going on within the next 2 days. I feel I was a little bit too late on asking some certain people to try to get in there, but I am very, very excited. I need it in my life.
Who's your main?
I am a King main.
Oh, God.
I am Mr.
Awesome.
Grabby Hands, and I realized that if there is a cat-like character or like Catman, something in a video game, I will instantly gravitate to them somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So I need all the Grabby Hands.
I'm not a huge fighting fan, but the one fighting franchise I love to play are Tekken. And I can never say his name right. Harang, the dude that just kicks. Yeah. That's all he does. Yep. I love that, man.
He's good. That's my boy Deontay's main. And so after his trailer dropped and everything, he deep dived. He's like, okay, here's how he's different. Here's why he's more like Big. Here's this. I don't understand why he's got his eye back since he had an eye patch in the last game. We don't know. So we'll see where it goes from there.
I love a good fighting game story too. It's always good.
It's wacky. I need it.
How long have you been doing podcasting and Rusty Rupees and stuff?
So we have been at this now for about 4 years. I think we started early 2019. Slow creep from there because we were still getting our bearings, kind of jumped into things not knowing anything.
Yeah.
And definitely seeing our growth from episode 1 to where we are now is astonishing, and how awkward and so lost we were back then. Same thing, been an audio editor since we've started, and learning that process on my own and everything has been a trial, but it's definitely skills that I'm glad that I learned.
Absolutely.
And overall, just 2020, I think when we first met at PAX East that year, that was my first PAX, and it was just me out of all of us that went. And when I had come back from that, I was super energized. I'm like, oh y'all, we gonna do this. And then the big cough happened, and that made everything weird for everybody. But
yeah, I love that, the big cough. That's good.
Oh yeah. But definitely within this past year, we've tried going out to a lot more events just to kind of put that footwork in, make a lot of different connections between PAX. We went to the Game Awards last year.
Sweet.
Getting ready for PAX West next month.
And you interviewed Barrett.
That is my uncle now. That's just Uncle John now. That's just Uncle Barrett.
God,
So
I want to talk to John so bad.
if you ever get a chance to talk to John Eric Bentley, he is legitimately the kindest
He
soul
really
I
is.
have ever met. Like
But-
I personally don't know a more real and down to earth person than John Eric
Yeah,
Bentley. Bless his heart.
that at PAX 2020, it was like, I don't know, a month or a few weeks before Remake came out.
Yep, I think
And
it was 2 months prior. Yeah.
I'm looking at the postcards. I got the cast signed for me while we're there because they were all there.
Oh yeah.
And I remember he had to leave. He just got into Boston. Then he had
That's
to leave
right.
to go to Japan or something crazy
He
for
went
press.
he went from KupoCon in Canada
Oh, that's okay.
to Boston for PAX,
Yep.
and then the next day he went to London.
That's what it was. I know it was, but like before he left, he signed every postcard that was in that stack. Like he got up, he gave a huge speech. Like, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for coming out. You know,
Yeah,
thanks for being excited about the game. It's like, now when I think of Barrett, I can only hear his voice. I think from now on.
Absolutely. I think when the Rebirth trailer had dropped,
Mhm.
I had texted him. I was just like, "It's good to hear you again, Big Dad." And he was just like, "What happened?" I'm like, "The trailer dropped today." He was like, "Oh, for real? Okay, I gotta check it out."
That's
I was just like, "Love you,
incredible.
Uncle John."
Oh,
He was like,
that's
"What's going on? Cool, yay, all right."
That is amazing. All right. Well, yeah, Darren, I'm excited for you to be on here. I'm excited to talk PlayStation with you.
Absolutely.
Everyone listening, watching, strap in. It's going to be a pretty substantial show. There's a lot of really fun things to talk about. Just a little bit of the merger, the acquisition, just a little bit, because I don't know
Just
about
a
you, Darren.
smidge.
I'm tired of talking about it.
I'm glad it's done because I've been rooting for Xbox this whole time. I'm just
Yeah.
like, just do it.
Just do it, right?
Do it. Just make it happen. Everybody's being haters. I want to see you win. I don't think it's going to change much, but I want to see you win.
Yeah, I appreciate that for sure. Yeah. But before we get into the show, a little bit of housekeeping. Trophy Room Store, we got new merch, including the house shirts. We have the House of Banger shirt, House of Slangers, which is Joe's side of things. Nobody's buying any of those. And the Sony Pony Express shirts, which are up, as well as we have a mug. So go check that out. It's at bonfire.com/store/the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast. Of course, links are in the audio descriptions as well in the YouTube video. But of course, this show is not possible without our patrons. So if you ever liked what we do, got you through a long day at work or a long car ride, feel free to throw us a buck. If not, you can just share us out in the world, and let's get more people onto what we think is one of the best video game communities out there. So shout out to our platinum producers, or platinum patrons. My God, I usually zone out when Joe does this. Premium producers Todd Burwitz and Toxic, Platinum Jay Shea, Jedi Master Ren, Cowboy Danger D, Jonas Young, The Green Gorilla Gamer, Chaotic Monkey, Millennial Falcon Gaming, Ryuku Kill 90, Stephen Flesh, Strubles and Bits, Bertos Maximus, Chris Hybrid 748, Matt Valdez, Chris the Wizard, our gold members Cypher Primus, Darth Simon the Pie Man, Jesse Garcia, JB the Purple Monkey, Hide Indoors, Katie, Kevin Mitchell, Kevin Diaz, Marcus O'Neill, Red Arrow, Ageless Hermit, Androgelosaur, Astronaut Jr., not to be confused with Astronaut Senior, Winter Gamer, Robbie Bobby Miller, Brenton Zachary, Brenty Blob, Bubble Boy N7, Captain Logan, Final Fan XZ, Hambone, JD Dellinger, M9 Prime, Stone Cold ET, Tino Six Speed, N Johnson, Sean McKenzie, Rick Arrington, Spam and Bammin, Matthew King, and Duh Overlord. I don't know why that got me there. Thank you all so much. We
You're doing so
appreciate
good.
you. Your support helps us make the show look so good, sound so great, and allow us to keep doing what we're doing. All right, Dan, are you ready to square up the news?
I am ready.
First bit of news that needs to be squared up is coming from Liam Croft over at Push Square. Liam writes, Sony and Microsoft signed a, quote, binding agreement, end quote, to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. With Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard set to close in the coming days following an unsuccessful appeal from the FTC, Sony and Microsoft have now signed a, quote, binding agreement, end quote, to keep the Call of Duty franchise on PlayStation. Sony had previously been offered a 10-year deal by Microsoft, but it's not known if this is the same offer or one for a different length of time. Update, it is for 10 years. A tweet from Xbox boss Phil Spencer said, quote, "We are pleased to announce that Microsoft and PlayStation have signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We look forward to a future where players globally have more choice to play their favorite games," end quote. Microsoft President Brad Smith also added, quote, "From day one of this acquisition, we've been committed to addressing the concerns of regulators, platform and game developers, and consumers. Even after we cross the finish line for this deal's approval, we will remain focused on ensuring that Call of Duty remains available on more platforms and for more consumers than ever before," end quote. In December last year, Microsoft invited Sony to sign a 10-year agreement to ensure Call of Duty would continue to launch on PlayStation hardware, following similar deals having been struck with Nintendo and PC platform Steam. However, this deal wasn't signed as Sony had concerns over PS5 and PS4 versions being sabotaged through, quote, "bugs and errors," end quote. The firm was also worried about a raised price point for PlayStation players, restricting multiplayer access, and the possibility of making future entries exclusive to Xbox Game Pass. Now the $69 billion acquisition looks set to go through though. Sony has put pen to paper on a Call of Duty deal with Microsoft. It remains to be seen what will happen with the Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and Activision Blizzard properties of the world, as Sony has focused its efforts on making sure Call of Duty remains available on its hardware. Darren, are you happy that this whole saga is over?
Very happy.
So far?
Very happy. I've been on Xbox, I've been on Microsoft's side this entire time. I'm like, if you're gonna spend this money, I want you to succeed.
Sure.
Just spoke about this yesterday. Do I think this will turn things around too much? No. I think Phil Spencer said in his XCast interview with Kind of Funny, that just because there's a bunch of games there now doesn't mean the market share is going to shift.
Sure.
Like, people already have their established libraries, and with the Call of Duty thing specifically, we already knew prior to this that they were already throwing around 10 years to go in general. But as I see that, PlayStation got 10 years to make Destiny the shit.
Yeah.
10 years to make Destiny or whatever to be that replacement. But 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
It might not seem like it, but it is. And we already know that there's probably going to be another generation shift in between that. So we're going to have to see how things really go. But I'm glad that Phil Spencer has one less headache to worry about, per se.
Yeah.
The big thing, like mentioning Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, like all the smaller properties that Activision owns, I think that's where it's going to be interesting to see how all of that lines up, because we know Call of Duty is the main moneymaker. That's the main focus of this entire merger. So
yeah,
seeing Overwatch and Blizzard, all that stuff go over there, yeah, that's going to be a hit for PlayStation, but at the end of the day, the majority of those games beforehand were mainly PC until, so.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not a Call of Duty player. I understand its significance and just how big of a slice of like the gaming pie Call of Duty is each and every year. So it is really good that PlayStation locked them down for at least 10 more years. I can't imagine it going past those 10 years.
Same.
Which is sad to say, but like you said, it gives PlayStation 10 years to, make their own quote unquote version of Call of Duty. And you can see that with the studios that they've bought, the types of projects that are in the works. I hope it works. Like I mean, I say it all the time. I want Resistance back badly.
Absolutely.
I want a good Sony Killzone. Like I want a Sony first person shooter, first party thing again. Yeah. And not rely on these third party things. So
yeah, I'm not much of a shooter player myself anymore. Like 10 years ago,
sure,
all about it, all with it. The Halos, Call of Duty Black Ops, like all those, cool. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, oh, a shooter, all right, cool. I don't personally care. Y'all figure that out. Yeah. But seeing the shift that Sony has done, like their Halo was Killzone, and now we see Horizon is being Horizon. So I don't fault them for making that shift, but there is a sorely lacking side of PlayStation, and that is shooters. So
yeah,
they own Bungie now. We have Destiny, but Destiny is still everywhere. It's not like PlayStation's talking about skewing Destiny only to PlayStation.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to see what that move is gonna be in the long run, but they got plenty of time to figure out.
Yeah, because when I think of like the first-person shooters that I enjoy, the only one that is not now under the Microsoft banner is Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I enjoy Destiny. Don't get me wrong. Don't come for me, Destiny fans. I know. There's so many of you. But like, when I think of first-person shooter, I think Call of Duty, I think Doom, and I think Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
And they're all now a Microsoft thing. So I mean, I'm sort of with you. When this first whole thing was announced, I was like, "Oh, this is a bummer because I won't get to play." My example was like Wolfenstein on PlayStation. Like, but the years have passed. It's a weird thing saying years,
Right?
but like, I think it's good for competition. I think that's just going to make PlayStation really it lit a fire under their ass to like, let's figure this out and not be so reliant on things, even though they are a little bit reliant on things currently, like all the third-party stuff with Final Fantasy and like Death Stranding and even Forspoken this year. So like, they're making smart deals, which I don't mind, but they need to start doing like some first-party stuff.
And I'm pretty sure, like, my biggest thing, and I'm pretty sure Jim Ryan already said no, and I hope that changes. But just put that green little box on in PlayStation X and B. just put just a Game Pass button on PlayStation. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Everybody wins. Xbox is getting that Game Pass money. People are still buying PlayStations and play their Call of Duty where they want to, how they want to. Crossplay is already way more of a thing now. So however, Microsoft's thing at the end of the day is, we just want you to play games. Here's a bunch of games for you to play. So within this next year, we know this not E3 season. Everything Xbox has on the way is slated for next year for the most part. And that's where we're gonna really see how good all these acquisitions have been, because our first real test was Redfall, and we saw how that went. So Halo has been haloing for a while now. So in Microsoft's first party lineup, kind of been some stinkers as of late. So I have hope for the future, but we have to see where it goes.
I think it's Mad in chat. Time to bring back SOCOM. SOCOM would be rad. That'd be a good thing too. But yeah, like we mentioned, this is good for PlayStation. Really gives them a time frame of when they gotta really start thinking long term about some things, at least in that genre. The next bit of news that needs to be squared up is coming from Sammy Barker over at Push Square. Sammy's writing, The Last of Us composer Gustavo Santaolalla, oh my god, I butchered that last name, may have teased the new version of Part 2. In a Spanish interview, composer Gustavo Santaolalla I'm just going to not say that. I'm going to say Gustavo from now on. May have hinted at exactly that. If you recall, during the opening stages of the sequel, you'll see the musician playing a banjo as you walk through the Jackson settlement, but you couldn't interact with him. Gustavo said that, quote, in the new editions, you can make me play certain themes, and, well, I can't say anything else, end quote. The composer went on to make a signature motion with his hand suggesting he's under NDA. This would to us imply that Naughty Dog is currently working on an updated version of The Last of Us Part 2, which has been rumored before. It does make sense, although fans may not be too thrilled at the prospect of another re-release from Naughty Dog following The Last of Us Part 1. Obviously, this is all conjecture based on a fairly vague Spanish interview, but it does make sense that a hypothetical re-release would come with some bonus features and Easter eggs, and making Gustavo's cameo more interactive would certainly fit the bill on that front. Now, Darren, first I want to know what your history with The Last of Us is, and do you think we need a new version of one of the greatest games and stories ever made, Viva la Revolution? Because I'm not hearing any smack from people in chat about Last of Us Part 2 not being as good as it is. Because it is.
I am not my friend Justin. I loved Last of Us 2.
Yeah!
He has problems with the ending, but he got justification from Neil Druckmann, and I can not talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
But Last of Us, been there since day one, since came out on PS3. Absolutely loved it. At the time, definitely one of my favorite games. Last of Us 2, loved it as well. For me that year, Ghost of Tsushima
Oh
was
yeah,
was
sure.
my game of the
They
year
were a
for that
month
year.
apart, by the way. I think people
Exactly, it
really
wasn't
forget
fair.
about.
Exactly, but Ghost of Tsushima was my stuff. But I love The Last of Us, but I do feel the oversaturation of Last of Us now. And so hearing this, I'm like, granted, it makes a little bit more sense to me if it's in the vein of like how they did Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, where
Mm-hmm.
it's a port up. I'm okay with that. I feel like it's still a bit too soon, but then again, this game came out 3 years ago now, which is kind of insane when you
Yeah.
think about it. So with everything, with the show being how good it was this year and everything like that, Last of Us stays consistently in people's mind space. Do they still need to work on that multiplayer? Yes, they do. So I'd kind of be pissed if we see a re-release before we get that multiplayer. I'll be very confused. But if it's included with that, I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay.
So I'm not as opposed to it as I think I was with The Last of Us Part 1. Because that when Last of Us Part 1 got announced, I was like, too soon. It's too soon. But then I'm like, it's also been 9 years since this game was
Yeah.
released.
Uh-huh.
And it does look very good. I personally haven't played Part 1 myself because I'm like, that needs to get cheap for me to play. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm like I said, I'm not as opposed to it as I was when Part 1 got announced.
Yeah. I'm super excited. I mean, it is one of my favorite. I mean, it is probably my favorite franchise in IP. But Part 2 is one of my favorite games ever. And after watching season 1 of the show on HBO, which is stellar. I forgot I ordered the first season on 4K and it showed up in the mail yesterday. I was like, ooh, happy surprise. Should have canceled it because I am not working. Anyways, after that season was over, I was like, man, I could play Part 2 right now. I'm itching to hop back into that universe. I played through Part 1 and platinumed it again. And
bless you for those Naughty Dog platinums, man. I could never.
The Part 1 is way easier. I mean, there's no factions multiplayer. There's I don't think you had to play it on oh my god, their version of Crushing, Grounded. You didn't have to play it on that. But like I've been itching to go back because I only experienced it that one playthrough, the first playthrough back in 2020, and it destroyed me. And I'm hoping for a similar situation of like when I replayed God of War 2018 before Ragnarok, where like I knew most of the story beats and I loved the first game, but there were sections where I just completely forgot about.
Yeah,
and so
agreed.
To see it run like in I can only imagine they do what Insomniac does and do like that 4K 60 frames kind of like performance quality mode that they are specialized in to get the best of both worlds, so you can have HDR and 60 frames and all that stuff. I'm super into it. I don't think I even need extra content in it. Yeah, having multiplayer be part of the package would be killer. As a non-multiplayer fan, factions is my shit. But I
thoroughly enjoyed that from the first one.
Oh yeah. I would gladly take a PS5 version. Yes, I know there's a PS5 patch where you can play the PS4 version at like 4K or whatever, but I mean, Part 1 looked pretty damn good. So I'm all in for it.
See, that's the version that's going to get the PC port, and then we get to see what happens.
For sure. M9 Prime writes in, as you can too, in our Discord. Link in the description below, as well as we tweet out every Wednesday when we go live or go to record a show. We tweet out for questions. And M9 Prime writes, hello guys, with the rumors of The Last of Us Part 2 being remade for the PS5, do you think there will be an upgrade path for people who own the PS4 version? Also, do you think they will release a bundle with The Last of Us Part 1? Of course, this is all speculation, but with the rumors of factions not going so great, do you think there's a chance they scrap the games as a service model and launch factions with Last of Us Part 2 as a regular online mode? Thanks for all your great work. Thank you.
Well,
What do you think,
we kind of...
Yeah.
think we just talked about as far as the package,
faction
like,
stuff. Yeah,
putting, multiplayer with
Do
it.
we
I
get
think
like
that's,
a ghost like $10 upgrade for like a director's cut kind of thing?
I would love that. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. But I feel we are now past that era of the PS4 to PS5 upgrade because it's been so many years now.
Yeah.
Like, what was the last big release that we got? And I want to say it was Death Stranding.
It was
I know we
Death
got
or
Death Stranding
Ghost.
Ghost.
It was either one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope so that we get that just cheap little upgrade. It's like, hey, you own this and want to go to that next version, cool. But because it's not like The Last of Us Part 1 where this is a brand new game from almost a decade ago. So
yeah.
I hope so, just so that, to fans who are here for it and want more, just like, oh yeah, I'll pay for that. And oh, it comes with multiplayer finally. I was already waiting, so I'm in here for it. As far as a package deal, I think that would be great. It would probably cost $100.
Yeah.
And I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. I could see them doing it. So I don't know if there's an upgrade path, only because I mean, like, the show has 20-something Emmy nominations. Like,
They're
the
trying to make that Last
show
of Us
is
movie.
huge.
Mhm.
So why offer a $10 thing? It's real scummy, but as a business, you're going to try to make as
Absolutely.
much money as possible. So I don't know if they're going to do an upgrade path. I would take a bundle, even though I own part 1. But if there's like new steelbooks as a physical collector, yeah, of course I'm
Same.
gonna get that. Come on now, just don't make
We're
it
suckers.
exclusive
We know
to
what we want.
PS Direct, please. I hate dealing with Direct. It doesn't work for me. I don't know about
Yeah.
you, Darren. Does it work for you?
Anytime there's a PlayStation Direct special edition, I tend to not even try.
Yeah, it sucks.
I think aside from Horizon, like, I didn't care. So
Horizon was the last one that I got through Direct that it worked.
yeah.
It's wild. AGD Gaming writes in, hi guys, new listener from across the pond here. Got a question regarding The Last of Us Part 2. I was a huge fan of the first. In fact, it's my favorite game of all time, but decided not to play the second due to spoilers. We're not going to spoil anything. But am I missing out on playing the second one? Should I just swallow my pride, wait for the PS5 remake / remaster to drop and dive in? Or shall I
Swallow
leave
your
the
pride.
dream alive and just stick with the first? Keep up the amazing work.
Swallow your pride and
Yeah,
play
man.
that game. Swallow your pride. I get it, especially because a game like Last of Us has such an impact, and through osmosis, even though the game's only 3 years old, it's been 3 years, so through word of mouth, through the internet, through whatever random YouTube clip, you're gonna probably have seen some stuff if you're anywhere remotely in the realm of things.
Yeah.
But spoilers aside, and this is just from me talking from experience for like older games, like for me, for the longest time, the original Final Fantasy VII, didn't care to play it because I'm like, I've just been in this for so long. I know Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And then I finally sat down and played. I was like, I didn't know any of half of this stuff. I knew the big major points that would have been spoilers that would have impacted differently, but the story and journey that you go on in these games, regardless if you know that singular plot point that was a spoiler for you, getting to that point, having context, changes everything.
Yes.
And I think for games like The Last of Us, it's definitely, you need to experience that for yourself to really form your own opinion. And then if you feel like that spoiler changed everything, man, it hit you hard, but it's definitely worth playing for yourself.
Absolutely. I think, Darren, you crushed that explanation. I can't add much to it other than like, yeah, that spoiler sucked. I mean, I got spoiled on it because there were a bunch of assholes out there who just wanted to spoil it just because. But I think once that thing happens, which is pretty early on in the game, if that's the spoiler you're talking about, they do such a great job of like adding to that moment and making that moment even feel even more impactful than it already is. And just the new characters you meet are just absolutely stellar. Last of Us Part 2 is top notch. And so, yeah, I'd say swallow your pride. If you want to wait maybe a month or two, if we get that, a rumored second showcase in the next month or so, maybe it's there and it would be official. But I would play it as soon as you can because it's real good. Not that we don't have enough games to play this year,
You know. Man,
It's wild. Yeah, Green Gorilla
good
Gamer.
games are good.
Yeah, they're very good. Green Gorilla Gamer wrote something similar, so I'll skip that part of the question. And to yet another esteemed guest, welcome to the show. Joe didn't answer this last week, as I'm sure he did everything in his power to avoid saying the word. But Darren, are you team banger or team slanger?
I'll go Team Slanger.
Darren, the betrayal.
I gotta go Slanger. See, the thing is, I swap sides because there'll be some bangers out there. I ain't gonna discredit you, but sometimes
All right.
I love you though. I love you
you
though.
too.
Hey,
Our relationship does not change over this.
okay,
It's
good.
only
As
Joe
long
and
as
I
it's-
where we fight to the death over this. Green Gorilla also said, I also just want to thank you both again for what you do. It's such a simple thing, quotes around simple. I mean, you guys just one day decided to run a podcast, but as I've said before, I'm very grateful for your show, this community, and the two of you. I've had a shit week and thought it would get better today. It did not, LOL, but I'm excited for another episode tomorrow. Much love. Hashtag 93 days until Spider-Man 2. We love you too. I know that's wild. We love you too, Green Gorilla. I mean, Darren, you probably feel similar to the people who listen to your stuff. Just like, it's just wild to me. People want to actually sit down and just listen to me personally talk games. It's weird.
Every time I hear somebody who it's my first time officially meeting them, and they say, "Oh yeah, listen," I always am just like, "You do?"
It's wild. Yeah.
First off, thank you, and also. Thanks, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's very kind of you to say those words, and I mean, we're nothing without people who listen, so I thank you so very much. We love you.
Thank you.
Next bit of news that needs to be squared up comes from Ryan Disdale over at IGN. Ryan writes, Ratchet Clank Rift Apart PC requirements revealed does not demand an SSD. That's wild. Julian Hubrechts, I'm sorry, Julian, online community specialist at porting studio Nix's Software, announced the requirements on the PlayStation blog. To run Rift Apart on very low settings, 720p and 30 frames, users will require all right, let me get the robot voice out.
Right.
Intel Core i3-8100 or AMD Ryzen 3 3100 CPU, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960 or AMD Radeon RX 470 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM. Rift Apart could also be run from 75 gigs of HDD space on these settings, but the recommended and higher specs all demand 75 gigs of SSD space. Running on a HDD at all is a stark difference from how Sony originally marketed the game, though. In its initial announcement, the company claimed Rift Apart was, quote, designed around PS5's ultra-high-speed SSD, end quote, adding that players will seamlessly travel through different dimensions in mid-gameplay thanks to PS5's ultra-high-speed SSD. Dimension hopping on very low settings seemingly won't be as quick as it is on PS5, though. While the game, quote, can be enjoyed using an HDD and the minimum system requirements, the blog post said players are encouraged to use an SSD in combination with the recommended system requirements or higher to experience the game's signature dimension hopping gameplay as originally intended. I won't get into that paragraph. It's more specs. You can see it push square on this article. They have a very nice graphic telling you all the different specs you need. Yeah. PC version of Rift Apart, which will be available via Steam and the Epic Games Store, will be live on July 26th. This has to work after the Last of Us Part 1 port, right?
I thought this was already out, not gonna lie.
I honestly did too. No, next week. It has to, right? I think for PlayStation expanding more and more into PC after disastrous Part 1.
They have to play test this stuff.
They gotta get
much.
this down.
Yeah, and Ratchet and Clank being exactly like they said, the SSD, how quickly everything loaded, how quickly you could just warp from different spots, and just entirely new environments just pop up or just zoom in. Like, it was very impressive seeing that from a Ratchet and Clank game, that for a game that came out 2 years ago now, and I need to stop mentioning time and years because it throws me off every time.
Yeah.
But Ratchet and Clank is an impressive game, so even seeing with it saying 30 frames, 720, I'm just like, that feels disrespectful to Ratchet and Clank.
It does.
But whatever. Hey, if your PC can't run it and you got it, go for it, man. I just hope
Yeah.
it works for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're a broken record here. If it gets more people to play these amazing games, I'm all for it. I'm not gonna be like that kid that axe kicked his desk over Horizon coming to PC. I don't know if you ever saw that, Darren. It's quite hilarious. It's like, how dare PlayStation betray my trust and just axe kicked his desk in half? I'm like, come on, dude. It's not that serious.
I'm just ready for another Greg Miller rant. That's what I'm ready for.
Yeah, I won't go into full depth like Greg does. PC is not where I enjoy playing games. I prefer on the couch, not on,
this is the
on
workstation.
Exactly. If I'm just here for too long, it's not my jam. I'm happy that people, like I said, are getting a chance to play it, but I don't know if I would want to play Rift Apart on those low settings. Like,
Yeah,
that game's gorgeous. It's feels good. It looks good.
Runs smooth. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember having any stutters playing that game.
No.
Like, honestly, I feel like that's been one of the smoothest games I have played in years. Like, you'll run into stutters here and there, and like, I don't trip too much off of like games stuttering. Like, if it's not
same.
astronomical, I don't care too much. I'm like, oh, it's running fine. Oh, it's slowed down for a little bit. Oh, because there's a lot happening in this game. Cool, whatever. It's not affecting my gameplay. But if a game runs that smooth initially, and then once the PC version comes out and you start seeing all the disastrous PC things that can happen, y'all got to figure something out over there, PlayStation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Question, Darren, what is the next PlayStation IP to come over to PC would you like to see to get more people in on this game?
Let me think. We've gotten a good chunk of them now.
Yeah.
There aren't too many. Ghost of Tsushima is one. If I'm correct, that has not come to PC, right?
Not yet. I don't believe so. I think it's been heavily rumored. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but
Ghost of Tsushima is more than likely the next best thing. And Spider-Man 2 will eventually get there, and I think it'll be a quicker turnaround than maybe any of them. But if we see that if Spider-Man 2 runs as good as we think that it's going to on PlayStation, I feel like they're going to try to turn around within 6 months, but I still don't have faith that it will be to the same caliber for sure.
Fair. I going back to our last story, I think it might be part 2. Similar to, again, another Naughty Dog collection, but the oh my god, what was it? The Legacy of Thieves collection?
The Legacy
4
Uncharted Legacy?
Yeah. That was PC and PS5, I think, the same day or within a week of each other. So yeah, I could see part 2, but yeah, Ghost has to. And I think that is definitely coming because of the movie. Again, Sony's everywhere. So did you not know about the movie?
Not at all.
Oh, Darren,
what
strap in.
Oh man,
strap in. There's going to be a Ghost of Tsushima movie directed by the guy who does John Wick.
Oh, I'm sold. All right. So I think that's one of the few PlayStation properties that does not make me worry instantly. I'm just like, all right, you just need to do this amazing samurai story. We already saw what Kurosawa mode looks like in that game, and regardless on how you do it, as long as you choose your actors right, performances good, sign me up. It's not hard to mess up a good samurai movie.
No.
So
yeah, that is just begging for a good movie, and I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
I just remembered a Flash News thing. I'm putting it down a reminder. Yeah, so those are our main stories. Again, it's not been like a crazy thing. I'm not a Call of Duty person, so Joe would have gone on for way longer, but it's fine. But now we're going to get into the Flash News. Gotta run fast. Oh, we gotta go fast, Darren.
We got to.
We gotta go fast.
I love the news flash because I'm just like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Claire.
Tomba and Gex are back, Darren. Have you seen this? It
happened.
It happened when they were recording, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about this next week."
LRG3, yeah.
Dude.
peeped through that. I'm excited for several titles that they popped up. First one they announced was Castlevania Advanced Collection
Yeah.
because I'm like, I just need those physical. It was
Yep.
inevitable. But seeing Tomba and Gex come back,
Yeah.
what?
It's wild.
These mascots rising from the ashes, and now it's just all like, who else you gonna get?
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So Tomba is a game near and dear to my heart from PS1 days. It's one of the first games I remember putting in way too much time in. I would just replay it a ton. You're like this feral kid fighting these evil league of pigs. And it's a very cool, like Metroidvania kind of thing.
right?
Yeah, like you can hop in the background and the foreground. It's like 2D.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You unlock skills. You can go back and find puzzles and whatnot. It's very, very fun. Gex, it's one of those things where I probably rented it from Blockbuster.
Same. I feel like I played Gex 1 back then.
Or demo disc,
and I had no idea that there was a trilogy. I'm gonna just say I knew there was for sure 2. I didn't know there was a 3rd game. So.
Yeah. So I'm cool, and it's the whole Gex PS1 trilogy coming, and what I really love about this announcement, not only are we getting 2 like iconic PS1 titles like IP back, but Limited Run is using what they're calling the Carbon engine is how they're making this happen, and they're publishing these, and it's a tool that makes porting older games to current consoles easier. So Darren, with that in mind, what is the dream old school game that you want to be ported over that has seemingly been lost to the ether of history?
Everything that I want is tied to Square Enix, and it's just inevitability.
Yes, same.
Like PS1 era, I grew up on the mascots, and so we've already gotten the Crash trilogy.
Yep.
Love that. We got Spyro back.
Yep.
Love that. Whenever I think of older mascots, it like those 2 were my mains from PlayStation, and then I think about it's not so much older because it was like in the PS2 era, but like Tak and the Power of Juju.
Oh
Will
yeah.
we ever see something like that again? Bubsy has made his return in the past couple years, and it's like, who asked for that? But whatever, sure, Bubsy.
I feel like Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is still around in some form.
Ty got a HD remaster,
Did he,
I think,
right?
for 1 and 2, and I think that's on PS4, Switch, all that. It's the ones that like I think got sold off from Square, so that's Legacy of Kain, it's like Soul Reaver.
I believe that's part of
Eidos, or Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah, it's the oh my god, the other gigantic
Embracer Group.
Thank you. Yep.
Got you. Yeah. See, Embracer and Tencent own everything.
Yeah.
We just don't know what they own. But
Katakawa is in my head, and like, no, that's From Software. That's not the same group.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing right now, though, is that we are in an era of bringing back things that have been long gone.
Yeah.
So seeing Super Mario RPG coming back, like that's been asked forever. It just depends on where they're going. I think that's the biggest thing, especially from Limited Run with the Carbon engine.
Yeah.
Is that we're getting a whole bunch of stuff that nobody has thought about in literal decades, and here they are again.
Yeah.
Anything specifically for you? Because I'm trying to rack my brain right now.
Pierre in chat saying, you know the answer, Darren. It's Bust a Groove.
Love you, Cam. Love you, my boy. Bust a Groove, absolutely. But oh man, we just talked about this last week. Bust a Groove is still one of my favorite rhythm games ever, and it's anytime I talk to somebody and they know about it, I'm like, you're cool, and we're now friends forever because you understand.
I think I played a demo of that like on a demo disc like nonstop once.
Beautiful.
It's a good time. I mean, my first go-to is another Square. It was a SquareSoft thing back in the day. Bring back Brave Fencer Musashi, please. It is
absolutely.
It's hard to explain. I mean, it's not really. It's like a Zelda clone almost. But it's filled with puns. All the towns, whatever, are named after food. There's like silly vampires that roam around at nighttime in the village. Some really fun and unique and quirky voice acting, And that was a game that I rented from Blockbuster a ton. Not only because it was that game and I had a good time, it also came with, I believe it was the Final Fantasy VII demo or the 8 demo. It's one of the two.
I want to say it was 7 and Air Guys had the demo for 8.
Yeah. Okay. That's probably right. And that game is just a ton of fun. GDQ recently posted a speed run of Brave Fencer Musashi. I was like, this brings me back.
Man, I just now thought of something. Rampage. Bring back a trilogy of that.
Hell yeah.
Bring back Rampage. We haven't had no good Rampage in years. I want to say it's probably, I think THQ owns it at this point, because it's been a long time since we got any Rampage aside from that movie tie-in one. Which watched it recently. It was surprisingly not as terrible as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Dwayne the Rock Johnson in a Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie, but it's terrible.
Yeah. Man, Rampage would be fun. That'd be a good time. I had others. Where did they go? Oh, Sega Genesis Classic. Comic Zone.
Which one? Ooh.
Comic Zone. Beat 'em up, side scroller, takes place in a comic book. You have to break through the panel pages and whatnot. It was super cool back in the day. I don't know how it holds up, but I remember loving it when I was a kid.
I feel that's definitely one of those like Sega Classic Collection. It's like if it's not in one that's out now, they're like still cooking up. They're like, what else haven't we done yet? Let's put this all on there.
Absolutely. I went back to when after the show I tweeted out a couple. I also said Soul Reaver. I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. That's just a good game that is just gone, and that
absolutely
makes me sad. Also the old Shining Force games.
Ooh.
I had a great time with those when I was little. When all we had was a computer, and I played them on the PC, and those are fun.
There's so many games lost to time that are slowly creeping their way back into people's mind space.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yep.
Just keep them coming. Make them good.
Yep.
Don't rush it. We waited years. You don't have to rush anything for a quick buck. We've all been waiting. So just take your time. So when it comes out, we're all happy with what we got.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let it be a Tales remaster that could have been way better. Way better. Don't port bad ports.
Do you have faith in the it's different than a port and a remaster. It's like a full-blown remake, but the Persona remake's coming of what was it, 3?
I'm not in the camp of like, it's not the complete version that they put for FES, because like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, those didn't have like the Game Boy Advance extra dungeons that they included in those. That's fine. I want you're remastering the original game. So if it doesn't have to, if it's not the definitive version, I'm okay with that, because it didn't have that stuff originally. That was stuff that got added on later on.
Yeah.
And so if that's how you're remastering or remaking your game, sure, by all means. I know you're going to include new quality of life stuff in general because it's been so long. If it doesn't have that extra bits, all right. And nowadays, if y'all want to do some DLC, more than likely, hey, that's fine. And it's also Atlas, so there's a high chance we'll get a Persona 3 Reload FES. So
very true. And probably thrown in like a different genre, like an Overcooked clone with Persona characters in it. They haven't done that yet, right? It's probably
no, they haven't. I've been waiting for P5A forever. I'm like, where's the fighting game for Persona 5? Instead, we get this tactics game. We got the rhythm games. Yeah. We got these chibi RPGs. All right, I love it. I love all this Persona stuff, but also, God.
Me being naive and not fully into the Persona games fully, isn't Strikers a fighting game?
Strikers is a Muso.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a fighting game.
Yep, Strikers is
right.
It's a whole Persona 5 sequel though. Like,
oh wow,
and it's,
okay.
Like, I need to go back and play it, but once you play it, it takes place after base 5, so
that's wild.
It's continuing on the story just in a completely different way.
That's cool. I like that they do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
The bit of Flash news that I wanted to put in, just because I know Darren is a huge fan of this franchise, it's Final Fantasy X's 22nd anniversary today, as of recording. 22 years ago, we got one of the greatest Final Fantasy games. It's one of those questions. Where were you, Darren, when you played Final Fantasy X?
To be fair, I have never completely played through 10. That is one of my blemishes on my Final Fantasy record, and I've gone through a lot of them over the years because my first one personally was 12. That was where I started. Okay. But for Final Fantasy X specifically, I don't know why I never played the whole game, but I played the ever-living hell out of a demo disc I had on PS2. That was the demo of like the first mission where you first run across Sin and you're with Ornn and all that, and then on Besaid Island when you first run into Komari and you have to do that fight. I played the hell out of that demo. I have the music burned into my brain.
Did that include that really hype as hell intro video?
Yes, it did.
Oh my god, one of the greatest.
It did. And so it's like I played damn near 100% 10 too. I've done that, but never completed 10.
Hell yeah.
So
yeah.
I can't say I don't own it because I literally own it on anything it could be on. PS2, 3, 4. I got it on all that. Just never sat down to do it. And so 22 years. Man,
it's wild.
We're getting old, dog.
Yeah. Final Fantasy X holds a very special place in my heart because I played the crap out of it. I don't think I've ever beaten it fully, but the hundreds upon hundreds of hours lost to Blitzball alone is nothing to laugh about. Those characters are incredible. That soundtrack is awesome. My favorite part about 10 is people like to, if you're not super into turn-based games, which this is a turn-based game, but giving us the ability to swap party members on the fly so everyone can get involved is something I wish is more a thing.
Has there been any other Final Fantasy that's done that?
I don't know.
I don't believe so because it's one of the best mechanics.
It really is. And seeing the lineup of like when the enemies attack, when you like Yuna's next attack is and whatever, it's like the strategy into that is crazy cool.
It allows you to plan and strategize how you want to, and also just in general, we know when we have big parties in these RPG games, some of them are going to get left behind. So 1, the fact that 10 allowed you to, all right, I need to swap onto you to get rid of this, or I need to use this buff with, like, there's so many ways that you can play that game, and it's great. I need to play it.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 2 is one of the best ones, and I believe if you have been a long-time PlayStation Plus subscriber, if you claim the games every month, I think you have 10 and 10 2 as part of the library, possibly.
I want to say it's been on Extra for sure.
Fair.
Yeah.
Please go play one of the best ones from PS2. 22 years. That's crazy. Next bit of Flash news. Sam Porter from Death Stranding is coming to Fall Guys.
Hell yeah.
Have you seen it, Darren? How he looks in the bean form? I love the
Fall Guys is so good. I know.
So
good. Fall Guys is such a good game. I love the collabs that Fall Guys manages to get, and so even years afterwards, it's like, here's Death Stranding. You know, Kojima probably just found out about Fall Guys and said, "This is really cool. We should put the suit in here."
I love the idea of Kojima stumbling into a Fall Guys and falling in love with it.
It's so random. It's years after both releases now. It's weird.
Yeah.
Unless Kojima's on those plays where he's like, "All right, DS2 news is coming soon." Sam Porter Bridges.
Hell yeah. Yeah. By the way, Yuna in chat saying, yes, 10 and 10.2 is on PlayStation Extra. And it is on sale now currently. Thanks, Yuna. With Sam Porter Bridges coming to Fall Guys, do you have any dream collab you want to see in Fall Guys that hasn't been it? Like, we've gotten Aloy.
Aloy.
I believe Kratos.
We have gotten Kratos.
Yeah.
We've gotten 2B. A while back from Nier.
Like, there's been Godzilla, there's been Disney. God, I think Master Chief's even in there.
I need Godzilla to hurry up and just talk to Capcom. I need a Monster Hunter crossover with Godzilla asaptually 2 years ago.
Why hasn't that happened, Darren?
The money's right there.
Are you kidding me? I
Go
never
talk
even
to
had that
Toho,
thought until
Capcom.
you just brought that up.
Go to Toho. Go do it. They like to collab with people. Do it. You have a game ready for that. Make it a King Ghidorah. I don't care. I don't want to kill Godzilla. Make it one of the random ones. Make it some cool King Ghidorah armor and the Godzilla weapon. I don't care. Like, there's ideas. Just do it. But, you know.
Oh my God, that is genius. Oh yeah, Astrobot was also in Fall Guys, and Kana as well.
There was a Kana one? Oh,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, man. I was making sure Master Chief was in there. Yeah, Master Chief's in there. So yeah, any like from anywhere that you want to see in.
Between Fall Guys and Fortnite, like those collaborations just kind of can just be whatever they want it to be.
Fair. The oddball one. Oh yeah, there's the Jin Sakai one too. I forgot about that one.
There is. I think that was one of the last times I had played it because I wanted that one. I know they had done they have Sonic collabs, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles,
Yep.
I think Eggman.
Yep. They even have Xavier Woods and Undertaker. It's crazy. Shout out to, I want a Sloth from the Goonies Fall Guys costume real bad. That's my favorite movie ever, so playing a sloth in that is
I'm trying to think how the little bean man would look.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he had the little hair on top for sure.
They would have to clear the Superman t-shirt though. I don't know if that would clear, but it'd be fun. Fall Guys is real good. If you haven't played Fall Guys, play Fall Guys.
It's fun.
Next bit of Flash news. This comes from Liam Croft over at Push Square. Liam writes, the PS5 Access controller costs $90 and is out on December 6th. Sony has today announced its PS5 Access controller will release on December 6th, 2023 at a price of $90 American, 80 pounds, and 90 euros. I think I got those all right. Pre-orders will be taken from Friday, July 21st, 2023 on the official PlayStation Direct website and participating retailers. Good. Check out the new trailer above to see what the PS5 Access controller has to offer for disabled gamers. In a PlayStation blog post, Sony explains how it's been planning for such a controller over the past 5 years and has been working with organizations like Able Gamers, Stack Up, and Special Effect to make it a reality. Quote,
Stack Up.
We truly believe gaming should be accessible to everyone, and the Access controller is our latest step toward living up to that promise, end quote. And just a couple really quick things I took from it. It's less than a pound in weight. It's got 4 expansion ports to connect additional buttons, specialty trigger switches, and 19 button cap types, and 23 button caps to mark what each button is. I am so happy that this is finally a thing for PlayStation.
Agreed. How long ago did Xbox come out with the adaptive controller?
It's been a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing,
that was previous generation.
Yeah.
That was Xbox One era.
Christmas commercials of that controller I remember seeing, like, on TV. I'm just happy, like, PlayStation finally is coming out with it, because I thought it was a really bad look for them not to have their own.
Mm-hmm. Granted, it looks very interesting, but
yes,
it is not. That is not something that is targeted towards me.
Agreed.
So it doesn't matter how it looks to people who don't need it. It's the fact that it exists for those who do.
Yes.
And that there are so many different options and configurations that you can mess around with it to make it comfortable. So at the end of the day, we're trying to play video games, and if this makes it easier for people to play it, hell yeah.
Yeah. The adaptive controller came out on September 4th, 2018. So it's been a while.
All right.
But yeah, and what makes me happy about it is they have, like, some really special groups that they collaborated with to make sure that this controller is all it needs to be for the disabled community. You shout out Stack Up. I'm not familiar with Stack Up.
So Stack Up, they are a veterans organization that pretty much helping veterans through the power of video games. So they send out care packages to deploy troops. So just like, here's Xboxes, here's some games, just to take their minds off of everything that's going on, everything that they're going through. They collaborate with a bunch of different companies between PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, if they can, just to be able to go to different events. They show up at stuff like PAX, Game Awards. They were at SGF, just to give these people opportunities to say, hey, you're appreciated, and video games are here to is for everybody. And sometimes that is the comfort that people need to get past what they're going through. They have hotlines that if you need to talk about it, just to talk, if you need somebody to talk you down from the edge because of what you're going through. But Stack Up, definitely check them out. Shout out to the red shirts, Steve Makuga, you amazing Gochu. Appreciate you guys for everything you do.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. So yeah, Access Controller, December 9th. I'm sorry, December 6th. So yeah, if you know somebody that might need this or want this, let them know that it's happening. And it's not only going to be on PS Direct. Thank God. Boy, oh boy. Next bit of Flash news is kind of exciting from Adam Bankhurst over at IGN, friend of the show. Patapon devs announced a spiritual successor called Ratatan. As reported by VGC, Ratatan was announced at Bit Summit, and Patapon creator Hiroyuki Kotani and original Patapon musician Keme Adachi are both on board. The game is being developed by Ratata Arts, Tokyo Virtual Theory, and PH Studio, and a Kickstarter campaign for Ratatan is set to go live on July 31st at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. We still don't know much about Ratchet, but the developers did tease it would include rogue-like elements and multiplayer for up to 4 players. Quote, the 3 main game concepts are over 100 cute characters fighting it out on screen, 4 players, simultaneous battles, and more adventure and rogue-like elements than Patapon had, producer Kazuto Sakajiri said. While it's exciting to be getting a game that honors Patapon, Kotani isn't ready to close the door on a new Patapon or arriving in the future. Quote, there's a possibility of maybe doing a Patapon sequel in the future, but for this we really wanted to make our own game in our own style with specific types of gameplay that reflect what we want. After that, if there's a chance to speak to Sony about doing a Patapon sequel, then we'll go from there, end quote. Darren, how hyped are you for these little creatures, moving to the beat, coming back?
Very.
Yeah.
Very. Patapon was not a series that I had played originally back on PSP. Like when they were getting their ports to PS4, and I finally actually saw what it was, and Greg Miller just beating the drum on it.
Yeah.
For me,
I see what you did there. Beating the drum. I see it.
You see. But I was surprised in myself that I had always knew about Patapon. I knew about that it existed, but I had no idea what kind of game it was. So when I finally realized, I'm like, oh, this is a rhythm game where I send out my little homies to war? Oh my God, let's go. So seeing this trailer, and I'm like, it's just Patapon. They just go, Ratatan. Like, that's all it is. So, hey, sign me up. I'm here for it. Seeing Kickstarter always throws me off nowadays, but it also depends on who's making it. So we've had our burns and stinkers in the past, but we've also had our bloodstains. So I'm like,
fair.
You got to take the good with the bad, and I'm very much hoping this is part of the good.
For sure.
Yeah,
I'm super excited. We here at the Trophy Room, I want to say like last year or so, brought up the notion of we want to make sure PlayStation still keeps that weirdness to it.
Absolutely.
And like when they shut down Sony Japan Studio, Joe specifically and I as well were a little upset that they were going to miss like that weird PlayStation stuff that they're known for. So while this isn't just like a straight up PlayStation exclusive game, just them talking about a Patapon sequel in the future, possibly, or this style of game coming back is exactly what I want to keep happening. I don't want to, even though I love the over-the-shoulder third-person action-adventure open-world stuff, the gritty, serious, gonna make me cry games. This kind of stuff is also my jam, and I want to make sure that it stays around for a very long time.
Yeah, what me and the boys have been really just hammering home as of late with certain games, like Street Fighter 6 has been like a big highlight for us. Like we're fighting game players and everything like that. Justin specifically, damn you, but our big thing has been seeing that these games have been fun, and I think that's been the big turnaround for a lot. So like Street Fighter 6 compared to Street Fighter 5, 5 was boring. It like fighting game players played it because that's what they had, and but we all know it had problems. Street Fighter 6 has been a phenomenon. Why? Because it's accessible, it's stylish, and overall it's fun. It's got weird stuff like the world tour mode is wacky. You have extreme battles and just you fight and giant just beach balls come and can mess with you. There's so many different weird gimmicks to a game like this where it's like, this is what we've been needing. Just make it fun. Doesn't matter if you want to get into that serious aspect or just want to do the weird wacky bullshit. Give us options. So seeing weird wacky bullshit like this,
big thumbs up. What is the bear in Tekken? Is it Kuma?
That is Kuma and Panda.
Yeah. Shout out to just fighting a bear in Tekken. Yeah, that
Tekken's weird, man. Tekken's weird. It's super serious, but also it's goofy as hell.
Yeah. What is the Guile knockoff machine guy's name again? Is it Jack?
Yes, Jack,
right?
who upgrades every single game, so we will have Jack 8 with this one. Yes, he has a railgun this time around. It's amazing.
Hell yes. Next bit of Flash news, which I pulled this article because I'm shocked it came from this publication, but from Sports Illustrated, Marco Woods is writing, Assassin's Creed Mirage lets you feel punches with haptic vest compatibility. Haptic feedback on a controller is always nice to have for intense moments in video games, but the range of such effects is obviously limited to the player's hands. But what if you could feel the punches, stabs, collisions, and jumps all over your body? Well, it's going to be possible in the upcoming Assassin's Creed Mirage thanks to a collaboration between Ubisoft and OWO, a company producing specialized haptic vests that translate what's happening in a game into physical feedback at the appropriate spots. That means if you let main character Basim get punched in the gut, you're going to feel a bit of that impact on your own body. OWO says that the vest can produce over 30 sensations from feeling the wind to getting shot by a gun. All of that, of course, in moderation. Users can tune the severity of these sensations to their liking, so you don't have to worry about getting hurt. OWO's vests use electric pulses to convey various sensations, which is a bit different from the vibration you'll experience from regular gamepads. OWO will sell a new edition of its haptic gaming vest, which is visually inspired by Basim's outfit. This can be purchased on the company's website initially, but there'll also be bundles available at retailers that include the game. No price or release date yet. Darren, this shit is crazy, right?
First off, I'm disrespecting that company, and it's uwu to me from now on.
Fair.
First and foremost, I'm going to disrespect this company's name. It's uwu, and I will not call it anything but. Secondly, what?
Right? I love that the two examples of like 30 sensations, you feel the wind, or getting shot by a gun.
Like, I'm assuming they took the same technology that they use for like the period cramp simulators that they put on people.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they had to use some kind of technology for you to be able to feel that. First of all, who came up with this? Secondly, for Assassin's Creed specifically, is an interesting take, because A is like, okay, getting stabbed, shot at, all right. Does this also include when we jump off?
Yep.
Are we going to feel the impact of that? Like
in the hay bale or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, are we going to feel the wind on our chest as we dive gracefully and then we fall in a hay bale and then it's like, that actually kind of hurt. That wasn't as soft as a landing as I was expecting. Do we take fall damage and is that going to hurt my chest? I have questions.
What if I'm poisoned and every second I get a little twinge of something?
No, just a little tick. Just
yeah.
Just I need an antidote. Like, there's so many. I have questions.
Yeah.
But the biggest question is who thought this was a good idea? Who said, you know what, Assassin's Creed Mirage, we're going back to basics. We're going back to our roots. But also.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. It reminds me of the PSVR 2 marketing or whatnot, because they were like, yeah, we're putting haptic feedbacks in the headset, so when you get hit in the game or whatever, and we made a joke of like, I don't want to feel a headshot. No thank you, that sounds
Absolutely.
way too intense. The rumble in the headset is not that intense, thank God.
It's not.
So I can imagine it. You're basically just buying something that's going to buzz you every action of the game. But like if it's like super intense, like if you are getting stabbed, for me being an anxious human who used to look up every single twinge of pain on the WebMD and find out I'm dying of cancer, this is the worst possible thing I could think of. Every twinge I'm going to think like, oh, I'm having a heart attack playing this game. No, thank you.
I'm so curious how much this is about to cost.
Yeah, I think there were other ones on there. I should have grabbed what their prices are. Because I think they make them also for other things. Like, this isn't their first thing. 500 euros for the Founder Edition. Limited to 2,000 units worldwide. So,
interesting.
There you go. If you want to feel like
euros,
what it was like getting stabbed in the Middle East in Assassin's Creed, by all means, this is for you.
To each their own. And also, I'll just say, wow, Ubisoft, what a way to step up your collector's editions. Because I'm pretty sure there is a collector's edition with the Basim statue out there already that they've announced. So the fact that they're like, but wait, there's more. Do you want to be Basim? Not in the way you're thinking.
If you call now in the next 15 minutes, feel what it's like to run in the streets being chased by soldiers and guards.
Good on them.
Bet. I wish you well, Uwu, but my goodness. Next little bit of flash news comes from GameSpot. Darren Bontuis. PlayStation Pasta is out in the UK. Sony has announced that it'll be collaborating with British online supermarket Ocado, this comes from via Eurogamer, to release a special edition pasta that'll be available on a PlayStation near you. A box of Italy's finest contribution to the culinary arts will contain the shapes of PlayStation's iconic controller buttons, all of which can be cooked up into various meals. Now I put a picture of it, Darren, so you can see it. I kind of dig the packaging. I kind of want one for my shelf.
Yeah, I'm just like, this looks like you would buy two. One to cook, the other just to be like, yeah, I got PlayStation pasta. What's up?
It's like
don't? It's crazy.
It's like the Mario cereal that had like an amiibo on it. What was that, a few years ago? Everyone went crazy over it.
Now there's Mario hot sauce. I did get that.
There's Mario hot sauce?
Yeah, they had a collab with this hot sauce company for like the special edition 3-bottle hot sauce.
Oh. Okay.
I haven't cracked that open yet. See if it's real.
My question, Darren, is let's help Jim and PlayStation. What food items can we PlayStationize here in the US?
Where the PlayStation pancakes at?
Oh, okay. So you're thinking like molds
and or waffles.
Okay. So molds you pour the batter in to cook them?
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Is there like a PlayStation waffle maker with the symbols?
That'd be
press
cool.
that on there.
If they make Darth Vader ones, there's gotta be a PlayStation one.
PlayStation O's.
Yeah, I was thinking like cereal with like trophy marshmallows, like the sacred symbols of the trophies.
Trophy marshmallows. I can see it.
Fruit snacks obviously are an easy one.
I'm surprised they haven't like gotten into it honestly before. Like as far as marketing goes, like granted it's triangle, circle, square, cross, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
You won't get me, PlayStation fans. You won't get me. But
I still say X. It's fine.
Like, oops, all crosses. Like, I don't know. Like a cereal would do.
Oops, all crosses.
Like,
there are going to be some religious people upset at you, Darren, for that idea. Oops, all crosses. Oh boy.
I regret nothing.
I think another really close one that we've gotten like video game stuff out here, besides like the Halo Mountain Dew Game Fuel branded stuff. There was the Fallout Nuka-Cola. That was an actual thing. Mm-hmm. So like, this would be disgusting, and Joe would be all for it just from the name of it. But like, Bloodborne blood vials being a soda.
Bro, I'm having a whole ass case.
Right?
Like, don't play with. Yes, 1,000%. I'm buying 5 packs of that.
Listen, PlayStation, I'm unemployed right now. Hire me. We got this in the bag.
Right, man. But as soon as you said Bloodborne, we already know that wouldn't happen because
No,
they don't really care about
no,
us.
they don't. They do
Give us
not.
something, dog. I like how when we
Anything.
mentioned the next PlayStation PC game, we both just knew not to mention Bloodborne because that's just a waste of breath and
It crossed my mind.
added tears.
If it didn't happen yet, I don't think it's happening. I know. It's a bummer. That's it for Flash news. So let's get into what we've been playing. I'll talk about one real quick, and then we'll kick you over to you, Darren. I tried one of the PS Plus games for the month. I heard great things about it. Endling Extinction is Forever, the Fox game.
Playing that too. Yeah.
I played maybe 30 minutes, and boy, oh boy, I'm way too attached to these Fox Cubs already. And
Yep.
my good friend Mike Towndrow, co-founder of 61 Indie, he reviewed it for us over there, and he loved it. But even he was like, make sure you're in a good headspace because it's sad. And very quickly, like this, it happens within 20 minutes, but a trapper steals one of your cubs and takes the cub away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, come on.
Shout out to my boy Juan. Like, he was telling me about it. I guess the one that you customize and make.
Yeah.
And especially be like, this is my cub. Get out of here. Like, it's messed up.
It's real messed up.
But it sounds very interesting. I know he was like, I got to like day 18 or something like that, and one of them I came back and saw just a pile of bones. It's like, not today, autosave, not my cub,
no,
not my babies. You ain't getting my babies.
Oh no. So yeah, this game can get pretty intense. It's gorgeous though. So, and if you're a PS Plus member, you know, add it to your library, even if you don't want to play it now. Darren, what have you been playing?
Me personally, I have been on Final Fantasy 16.
Same.
Just beat that. I beat it last week.
Oh, sweet.
And
Okay.
yeah, currently going through my second playthrough on Final Fantasy mode just to knock my platinum out.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy, when you hit that second playthrough and you start skipping cutscenes, you realize, dear Lord, there are a lot of cutscenes. It's like going through a Souls game the second time around when you're no longer scared, you kind of know what you're doing, and you just speed past everything that you don't need to do.
Yeah.
That's how this feels, and I'm like, dear God, I skipped past 7 cutscenes in a row. But love that game. Love it with all my heart. Boo-hoo cried when I finished it. Highly recommend it to everybody out there. Please do the side quest. Please do the side quest.
Please do them.
Before time skip, all right, I get it. I understand. Later half, all that stuff matters. The game world is different by doing those side quests. It matters so much. It attaches you to these side characters. It attaches you to the world. It helps you explain what the world consists of and just the little nuances of it. Final Fantasy 16 is fantastic. Love it.
I'm slow playing it, not because I'm not loving it. It's just like when I'm playing it, that's all I want to think about. I want to give myself a break because I want to savor every moment of it, because it is heavy, like in content wise.
Absolutely.
So I got to make sure my head's in the game for it. One of my favorite things is the active Time Lore thing, where you'd be like, oh, who is this person? Let me pop it up and remind myself.
I don't understand any of these reviews going around that was complaining about it, bro. It blows my mind.
Are you kidding me? I want every game to have this.
Exactly. I'm like, you listed funny word 1, 2, and 3. I'm going where?
Yep.
Talking to who? Oh, I could just hold the touchpad and here's all the explanations, and it updates over time, giving you more backstory to these characters as they develop. Come on, it's an amazing system.
I feel like reviewers, I think, couldn't fully appreciate that because they were playing it nonstop for review. I think for us, like, you know, slow playing it and taking time between play sessions, like, my memory isn't that great. I'm gonna need reminders of who this person is and what kingdom is fighting with who, and who's dominant is that, and you know, so like, I love it.
Empire Sambrek at war with the land of Waloed.
And it's Final Fantasy names, like you said. Like, all right, I need some reminders here and there. I'm with you. The story is incredible. Please do the side quests. Are they all winners? No, but in all RPGs, not all side quests are winners anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
You know what, and especially I
yeah.
think the big thing for 16 being made by Creative Business Unit 3, if you are a Final Fantasy 14 player, you're just going through a 14 beat. Like 16 is just a 14 expansion. Like this quest setup like to a T.
Mhm.
Here's some random nonsense that you have to do. Go talk to this person, go kill this, deliver this. Oh, now here's your dungeon. Here's your long stretch of gameplay where it's just like enemy, mini boss, enemy, mini boss. Now here's the big boss at the end. And what do you do after that? A big dominant fight, which is just a trial in Final Fantasy 14. I'm like, oh my god. You do big bombastic thing, then what do? Some more bullshit because you got to get that cooldown period of you're up here, let's bring you back down so we can raise that tempo back up as you go through.
Yeah, the game's awesome. I can't wait to finish it. I hope we can get Ben Starr back on for a spoiler cast because that would be awesome. Ben's killing it as Clive. I
love him.
I think he's one of my favorite Final Fantasy protagonists, and I'm only 18, 19 hours into it, and like
Clive is definitely a top pro tag for me. Like, granted, seeing like he's so chill and stoic, but he conveys emotion so well, and whether it be friendship, grief, anger, like his slow nuances of just showing love to those around him. Clive is great. Clive is a good ass character. Shout out to the best boy Torgal. Gab is my dude. I love you, Gab. You're my guy. You look boring, but you are my dude. I hate how generic you look.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. I think my favorite thing about Clive too is I feel like a lot of other protagonists in Final Fantasy games, we figure out the reason that the way that they are way later in the game. And I feel with Clive, we see every moment of why he is this stoic person. And I'm sure it's going to get even crazier. And I see Mackenzie in chat saying he paused the end of the final battle to watch us. So I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. And
that's
after that, man,
strap in, I guess. I will say, though, I was kind of right on the icon fights. They're not my favorite thing in the world.
Without spoiling, well, how many have you done?
2, 3.
Oh
yeah, I know. But at this point,
I get what you mean, though. I for sure get what you mean. Where you feel, I think the icon fights, it definitely is like normal gameplay. It ramps up the further you get because while you're in it, just like Clive, he's learning things in the midst of those, and that changes the dynamic of the game. Just like how when you first start the game and you only have Phoenix and it's very the combat's very like straightforward, kind of mundane. Same thing for the icon fights, I feel like. And as you go through, you're like, okay, there it is. There we go.
Without spoiling things, I don't want to spoil anything. The accept the truth moment. Holy crap, Darren. I got out of my seat like, yes, let's go.
Absolutely.
And every just shout out to again, I've only been to 2, I think. The mother crystal sections are drop dead gorgeous. This is one of the most beautiful games, I think.
It really shows this game shows like the icon fights like exemplifies like all the work that they put in this game. For all the lulls and fetch questy little side quests you have to do, you have to remember at the end of this bullshit is this bombastic icon fight with these crazy set pieces, these crazy moments, and you feel it. And I don't think I've ever heard my PS5 get as loud as it has playing through 16. Like I be having my headphones on because I'm absorbing all that, and there's been times I've had to like, damn, I've never heard you like that. Okay.
That's hilarious.
It's good time. Good time.
Yeah, please go play that game.
Absolutely.
The last game I'll play, I want to talk about is something I played on a whim because I was like, "Oh, there's a sequel coming out soon." I've heard mixed things about it. But let me just try it out. And I'm sucked in. I've played like 7 hours of it within the last 2-3 days. It's a game called Blasphemous. Are you familiar with Blasphemous, Darren?
I am. Me and Cameron actually had a chance to interview the creative
Oh,
director
sweet.
and producer for Blasphemous 2. Out now. Rusty Rupees. Look us up.
Yeah, sweet. Check it out.
But we had an interview for Blasphemous 2, and like definitely speaking with them. I've only dabbled with the first Blasphemous a little bit. But one of the big things they were talking about was that the feedback that they received was about like gameplay wise, like how it doesn't feel as smooth, like it's kind of stiff. And even with the 3 expansions they had done, they had incrementally like improved on the quality of life stuff. But with Blasphemous 2, they're starting from scratch, like they completely reset like new project in their engine.
Hell yeah.
And so building things from the ground up. The movement feels snappy. The attacks feel good. You can swap between 3 different weapons with a button press. They're going more Metroidvania.
Yes.
Like they're doing a lot for this new one. So if you're enjoying the first one, second one, yeah,
I'm
definitely.
super excited to hear that. I'm gonna check out that interview too, because my gripes with it are what you just said. Like, it is very stiff. The platforming is very unforgiving. The backtracking through areas is a lot, and I'm doing it constantly, and I feel like the fast travel points aren't as often as I would like them to be, or as close to where I want them to. But that being said, I'm into this world. As grotesque and disgusting as it is, it's beautiful. But when you walk into a room and you see a giant Benjamin Button baby with an old man's face on his stomach talking about, like, you know, get me these things so I can improve your MP. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. They had talked about all that too, like, because same thing. We had gone to a room and there was this giant lady holding this form fucked up looking baby, and they were just like, here's the inspiration for this, and it was the scene from this Spanish movie on the Spanish TV show. And so you see just like the same pose and everything, but you see how they distorted it. And so they pull from Spanish folklore to create this world. And so I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm learning things.
That's awesome.
But yeah, everything you're complaining about, yeah, they have fixed, because now with it going pretty much straight Metroidvania, it's like the backtracking feels more natural, because now as you go through the game, you're getting new powers, you're getting new weapons that unlock new ways to travel, all that stuff. So it's definitely,
awesome. So yeah, please go check out that interview. The link to all the Rusty Rupee stuff is in the description. Boy, oh boy. Darren, have you been playing anything else?
Aside from that, like the rotation has at this point been 16 Okami when I stream weekly, twitch.tv/RustyRupees. So going back to that, and then now that Raincoat came in, that's going to be my holdover game until Armored Core comes out next month. So that's my next big thing on the way.
Sweet. Okami, first time playing through it?
Second time. I played it way back then, way back when on PS1 or on PS2, and loved it. That's XX Shadow Okami is my name for a reason. I love it. Like, that's one of my favorite games, but I have not played it completely through since then. And so whenever like I choose a game to play on stream and everything like that, that's kind of like, I'm going to now sit down and commit. And so if it's only this one time a week I'm playing it, this is my time to really get back into the world and absorb everything. And so just re-experiencing it is always a pleasure, because I love the art style for it. I love the controls. It's very unique. Hate the controls naturally. You have to invert the camera controls, especially when I'm swapping between something as smooth and fluid as Final Fantasy 16 to go to janky cameras. So Okami, I was like, something has to change, and thankfully you could just invert the controls and it feels way better.
That's sweet.
But those have been my mains, and then here and there picking up my Steam Deck and switch to, because I'm still going through Pixel Remaster stuff too. So before 16 came out, I had just beaten 3, and I beat Final Fantasy 4 as well. So now I'm going through 1 and 5 just kind of on the side. And 6 is for a special day when I'm just like, okay, this goes on the big screen. Got my candles on. Got a glass of wine next to me. I'm like ready to just.
That is
Go
like
through
one of my biggest gaps as an RPG fan is 6. I've never played it. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited to go through it. I platinumed 1 maybe a month and a half ago.
Nice.
It's fine. I don't think it's my
Yeah.
favorite or anyone's favorite, but I love that they're a thing. I love that we have them.
Exactly. It started this beautiful franchise that's 35 years strong that I am spending ungodly amount of money on
Yep.
year after year for.
Absolutely.
Take my money, Square. You deserve it. I
please.
hate it, but take it.
I'm really upset I didn't have the money for that statue, the collector's edition statue.
I feel like I had a pre-ordered, stuff happened, and then the
Yeah.
Square Enix sites switched up. I didn't
Yep.
get it, so I'm slightly sad about it. I'm getting that special edition soundtrack, so that's my my way of kind of
Mhm.
making up for it.
Mhm.
But I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, no. What I did get recently, because since I didn't get the 16 collectors, what I did was I got the controller and the control and the console plates for 16.
Ooh.
So I went ahead and imported that. I was like, this is irresponsible of me, but after beating the game and crying like I haven't done in so long, I'm like, this deserves extra money somewhere in some fashion. I'm going to do something about it. So
Yeah. Sweet.
yes.
Oh, all right, Darren. I didn't prep you for this, but are you holding on to something?
I can.
Prepare the drop. Here's where we highlight what's coming to PlayStation systems. I can't do the whole Joe thing. I forgot to show spiel on PlayStation 4 and 5. So on July 18th, man, that was real weak. I'm sorry, Joe. On July 18th, Gravity Crash Portable, PS5, PS4, Twisted Metal, PS5, PS4, Twisted Metal 2, PS5, PS4, and Viewfinder on PS5. Love that Twisted Metal 1 and 2 have platinum trophies. I can't wait.
Oh, thank God.
I can't wait.
All these games that don't, it's still confusing to me. Just put them on. Just add that extra trophy.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's it. July 19th, Agriculture on PS5, PS4. July 20th, Cross Tales, PS5, PS4. Oaken, PS5, PS4. Kill Squad, PS5, PS4. Might and Magic, Clash of Heroes Definitive Edition on PS4. July, oh boy, they put July 20th. I'm guessing this is July 21st. Nobunaga's Ambition on PS4.
There's a new one?
I guess so. Is that like a series of games?
So
Okay.
Nobunaga's Ambition is kind of like think Dynasty Warriors, but it is more the strictly tactics based. So still taking place in like the Three Kingdom. Nobunaga's Ambition is Japan and all that. So it's the Sengoku era style of thing. So it's just like, here's a strategy game with those factions, and there's far more than I think there should be. But hey, here we go.
And on the 21st, Remnant 2 comes to PS5, and Symphony on PS5 and PS4. 18th is pretty heavy hitter. Twisted Metal 1 and 2, Viewfinder, which is pretty great puzzle game.
Excited to go back and play Twisted Metal. It's been a long time.
Way long. That was
But
like
here we are getting ready for the show.
Yeah, like my friend is coming over for a sleepover. We would just play Twisted Metal all night. It's been that long since I played those two.
Hey man,
I can't
we haven't
wait.
gotten one in a long time either.
I
So
know.
shoot,
The one on
let's just go
PS3
back.
wasn't that great. It wasn't my jam.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh god, that was a weird era. That was a weird
It
era in
was.
PS3 though. There were some games coming out in that time period. So
Yeah. Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Sony Pony Express. Yeehaw! This is where you write in and we answer your questions, whether it's on our Discord or twitter.com/PS Trophy Room, where we gather your questions for the show. First question comes from Toxic. Sony Pony Express, yeehaw! Question. With the little future trophy hunter on the way, oh, congratulations. I love Kaikai's short list of recommended games that are kid-friendly. Doesn't have to be age-specific. All I can think of that I have right now is Animal Crossing and Pokemon games for Switch, but do you have any PlayStation stuff to recommend? Thanks in advance. Love you guys. Love you too. First and foremost, Astro's Playroom comes with PS5 if you have PS5.
absolutely.
That's huge. The girls, my nieces here, love the SpongeBob games. They're always a good time. They actually platinum the newest one on their own.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of them. That was cool. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, not platinum. They beat it on their own, but they're very close to the platinum. So
There we go.
I'm trying to think of other kid-friendly games. Do you have any ones for PlayStation?
Moving Out is
Oh yeah,
that's a good
fun
one. Yes, I want to say Overcooked, but Overcooked requires just a little bit more communication and working together that sometimes kids might
Yep.
clash a little bit more. But Moving Out is a little bit more kind of chaotic and just hey, move the stuff into the truck. And number 2 is coming out as well.
Yep.
Shout out to Team 17. Also got a chance to try that too.
Ooh.
A bunch of accessibility options that kind of just overall makes the game just easier to play if you don't want to have the constant struggle of like there are some heavier items that 2 people have to pick up, and if you want to just put on the slider, just like it's easier for one person. Or if you get anxiety and there's like, oh, there's too much stuff in the truck, and you just feel like you're like, I can't get anything there, throw the stuff in the truck, it'll disappear, but it still counts. So
sweet,
that's a good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Once your little human grows up a little bit and has a favorite like IP or something, and there's a Lego game about it, Lego games are awesome. They are a good time for
Kirby
sure.
as well.
Oh, Kirby, that's great. Yeah, I'm just thinking PlayStation based, but yeah, Kirby's great. There was another one that just popped in my head. Oh, it's a little bit of a jokey answer. Again, my girls absolutely loved it. I loved it too. Power Wash Simulator.
I like have it sitting there, and I've been meaning. I'm like, it's just gonna be one of those things where I'm just like,
you're gonna love doing the Midgar stuff. I was geeking out the entire time.
I'm excited. I'm very excited about it. The fact that it's a Square Enix game in general just throws me off. But yeah,
it's a good time. Next question comes from Ghettoberry13. Ghettoberry writes in, good evening, Kyle, and esteemed guest. Semi-big news week this week in the UK. Leading supermarket Tesco has announced plans to stop stocking video games entirely. This has been a long time coming because I work in a Tesco store and haven't had any new games stocked on shelves in months. Eventually, much to my chagrin and probably yours too, there'll be a time where no physical copies are available anywhere. But when do you think this will finally happen? In 5 years' time? 10? I enjoy popping off to my local game store to pick up the latest game or to browse their pre-owned section for tasty bargains, but fear this may be a thing of the past way too soon. So how long do you think we got before everything becomes digital only? Thank you guys. Missed you, Kyle, last week. Missing you, Joe, this week. Take care. Love always. Thank you, Ghetto Berry, for writing in. Are you scared, Darren? I'm scared.
I don't think we'll ever go fully digital, personally.
I hope not, yeah.
There's too many people like us who want to have a disc version of a system, who want to have an ungodly amount of games on a shelf to look at and be like, I'm not going to touch you anytime soon, but you look pretty right there. It's kind of like the GameStop example. Like, GameStop is still surviving somehow, but that's for a reason at the end of the day, because people still want to go in and buy games, whether it be specifically from a GameStop or Best Buy, Walmart, Target, wherever it might be. People aren't always savvy to getting digital stuff. I can't tell you how many times I've had family members call me about, hey, I got this code for your brother and there's no code on it. I'm like, where's the receipt? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And it's like, it's not on that card. The code is on the receipt. And not everybody is going to understand that. There's too many gift givers. There's too many parents, grandparents who know that their kids, grandkids like games and don't quite understand the digital aspect of things. So it's a big ask to say we're going to go fully digital. Like, unless it's a PC game, like PC now, fully digital, you don't see physical PC games anymore. But that's a little bit of a different environment. While consoles, Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, all the above, people want to go into a store to say, I want that, pick up that, and leave. So they, like this Tesco's example, granted that sucks, but also, was it ever like a specific spot for people to go there? So it's going to be weird, but I don't think it's going to go fully digital. At least within the next 10 years, I don't see it happening. I'll put it that way. Okay. I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I hope you're right, Darren, because I am terrified. I love my physical media. I hate going into my local Best Buy and seeing like the movie Blu-ray section shrunk to a wall.
Yeah.
And not having like 4 rows to go through and having a lot of options of like some really like indie films that I want to see and buy and own to my 800 plus Blu-ray collection, but I can't. Same thing with games. Like the choices like in my local Target and Best Buy and Walmart are not great. And my local GameStop closed down like a year and a half ago, and I miss it. Like, say what you will about GameStop, I miss it because it was a dedicated game store, and like I knew I could go in there and probably find what I'm looking for, or pre-order something. And with like my financial situation, putting a little bit out of a time, so it's not a huge chunk at once. Which is something you can't really do digital either, which is a bummer. But like I like physical media as for like a preservation thing. Like I want to always have it on my shelf there. Like the example I like to bring up is like when everyone's freaking out that The Office was about to leave Netflix. And everyone's like, "Oh, how am I going to watch The Office?" Like, I have them on DVD. I have every season.
I know how you can.
Exactly. You want to rent them? I'll charge you for it. Like, the fact that, and you see it right now with like Max just ripping Cartoon Network shows completely off the service and not having a way to watch them elsewhere. Like, that's terrifying. And seeing things like my biggest point of contention with Joe, other than House of Bangers being the right side of history, is the collector's editions now for first party stuff is just a steelbook with a code. I hate that. Just put a if people are buying a collector's edition of a game, put a disc in it and have the ability to like
opt into it. Like, I think
either that or just like give them the digital version along with the disc. Eat the cost a little bit. Like I feel most people, I'm not saying all, most people who go digital do so because they don't have space. So collector's edition isn't really something that I feel like should be on their radar. Maybe that's way too narrow-minded on me, but
I know we've had this discussion before too, and it was specifically around like Horizon was the example. Horizon, God of War, like all these PlayStation ones specifically.
Spider-Man 2 collectors is only digital with the code now.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where business-wise, I get it. Less production costs. You're only providing the collector stuff. People still get the same game. You get your steelbook, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And there are people who will double dip. Like, I'll do it all the time. I want to play that game right at 9 o'clock. I'm buying a digital, but that collector edition is on the way within a couple days.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I want that, but I want to play it now. So, but not everybody is like that. And like when it comes to like PlayStation, is it a matter of like, oh, we don't want to have like, I want to say specifically Horizon. It was because they had the Regala edition and then they had the regular collectors. So if they had skewed it, it's like now that's 4 different collector's edition SKUs. Digital, physical, digital, physical. And it's like, are they going to do all of that? No. And is it a slap to the face for people who want collector's edition? It's like, I'm getting this physical stuff because I want it physical. But as the company, they're like, you're still getting the game. You're still playing everything the same.
No, I get it.
Extra stuff. So but you know, it is.
It's the same thing with, I think, Jedi Survivor is like, there's literally like nothing on that disc. It's just essentially like a key to unlock to play the game. Is from, I think, of what I've heard. So it's a bummer for sure, but I'm gonna lean on the side of optimism and with you. Like, I think 10 years we'll still have physical media, but beyond that, I don't know.
Xbox One, at the beginning of Xbox One life cycle, I think that was a big tell of how reception is. Like, granted, things have changed in the landscape since we got all of that, where it's like, it's only this and you can't use used games and blah blah blah. Like, we've gotten very far since then, but there's still so many. Like, when we get the reports when a new game releases and it's like, this game ships this many or sold this many. When you see shipped, you know that's not specifically digital. So that means people are getting that many copies of a physical game. That's telling, and that means that if they eliminate that, that big number might diminish. and they don't want that. So
yeah, for sure.
mm-hmm.
Next question comes from Katie. Hey guys, hope we are well. So there are many games out there with beautifully crafted universes filled with all this amazing lore. So simple question is, which one is your favorite and why? Much love as always. Do you have a game that's just dripping with lore that you can't get enough of? As you look at the wall.
Man, so I'm a soul. Bless you, VodiVidia, for all your Souls content, whether it be Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, whatever. I love all of that. I'm also a crazy person who is a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, so that
says
Kingdom
it all.
Hearts is yeah. Kingdom Hearts at the end of the day introduced. That's what got me into Final Fantasy. Seeing, like, I knew about Cloud, Squall, and all of them, but I learned about them through Kingdom Hearts, and that has always stuck with me. And as much as I feel like I've become more of a Final Fantasy fan compared to Kingdom Hearts is always like that is my love, and I don't care how convoluted or ridiculous the story is. I understand it because I've been there, and I played them, and I'm here to stay with that trend regardless.
Yeah. So I love learning about Souls lore from Joe and Mike and other friends of mine. Like, I'll get into it, but I don't soak it in as much as everyone else. I enjoy it all. But when it comes to like Horizon, I'm reading every log. I'm listening to every audio thing. I'm making sure I get glimpses of what that world looked like before everything happened. Like, that kind of lore is super, super cool to me in that world because I want to know how we got here. So I'll soak all that stuff in. Final Fantasy is another one as well.
Yeah, I was about to say anything with an ancient future technology that you just see across the land, and I'm like, man, they failed, and you can't use none of this stuff now, and we reverting back to this. I want to know about that. Shout out Final Fantasy 14, all of that lore, all the lore of 14. Give me it.
There's a very specific thing in 16 that I stumbled across in the distance.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't think they talk about really full in detail.
They don't.
I want to know what happened there. I want to know real bad.
They don't talk about it is a you stop paying attention during a conversation and you miss it. It's that quick.
Oh my god, please give me DLC. Yuna writes in, hey there you guys, hope you both are doing well. So GTA 4 has now been 100%ed. Yuna, you are wild. And I can finally have my sanity back. And now I'm moving back into Trails to Azure. My question this week is, how long does it take you to get back into a game after going through the in-between games phase, as I call it? And do you try to ease the game back in by going slowly at first? So for me, last year, was it last year? Yeah, Forbidden West was last year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Man, I was about to talk about Horizon 2. That's crazy.
So the thing is, I think similar to what you're about to say, I love Forbidden West. I was playing it a ton. And then Elden Ring came. And I switched over to Elden Ring, and that literally took over my life for a month and a half. And I am a new Souls fan, Darren. Like, very recently, I platinum Bloodborne behind Joe's back as a surprise to him. I 100%ed it. I platinumed Elden Ring. I played Demon Souls for quite a while. I need to go back to it. So, like, I'm in. And so Elden Ring came out, and I just was engrossed in it all. Horizon took a back seat, unfortunately. And it took me a very long time to come back to it. It was like later in the year I finally went back. And that was a huge shock. Because, like, I was so used to the fast-paced dodging in a Souls game, and Horizon plays completely different. So it was like relearning how to ride a bicycle for a little bit. So I took my time. I made sure I read up on what the story was before, because that game doesn't have active time lore, which would have helped a whole lot.
If Horizon had ATL, oh my god, that would be so good.
Who's this character? What happened? Like, that would have been great. But Horizon was the last one where there was a huge gap, and I'm like, oh boy, it's gonna take a little bit.
Exact same thing for me, and I feel so bad for Gorilla. It's not fair. 2 times in a row, screwed over by a game that literally changed the industry. Like,
Yep.
Horizon Zero Dawn came out a week before Breath of the Wild.
Oh, yeah,
Not
yeah.
fair. It back then took me 2 to 3 times trying to pick Horizon back up to even just to go, because when it sucks because it's always between these big games, and like I said, that change that create peace in the community for a clean 2 weeks because everybody's enjoying it, everybody's experiencing different things, and it's a whole discussion. Horizon, at the end of the day, it is a story. There's a lot to do. There's plenty in that world, and I'm not downplaying Horizon at all, but it's hard to compare them. And then when you try to go back from playing such a different game that is also big, over encompassing, a lot of lore, combat is intricate and very specific, to get into that, it takes time.
Yeah.
And so, like, same thing. I had faith for Horizon because this time around, because I was like, cool, Elden Ring got a clean month ahead of it. That yay, it's gonna have its time in the sun. Delayed. Oh, it's bad. Oh, Horizon's getting done dirty again. I still haven't gone back to really play it because every big game that comes out, I'm all in on that. And then I look at Horizon afterwards, like post 16, I was like, time. It's not time. It's not time. I need dedicated Horizon blackout period.
Yeah.
So
Burning Shores is real good, Darren, by the way. The DLC is real good.
So much. I believe it.
It's too
but
much.
I'm like, man, I got to get through base game before I get to DLC.
Next question comes from Stingray. Question for the Pony Express. Yeehaw. With Oppenheimer and Barbie releasing on the same day, what would be your ideal future games to release on the same day?
Not Horizon and anything else. I mean, Horizon have its own time in the sun alone, not accompanied by anybody, nobody, solely none of that.
Nope. I remember. This is the example. I want to say it was 2017. The Assassin's Creed Origins, Mario Odyssey, and Wolfenstein all released on the same day.
2017 was a cheat code, though. That was fair. That was not fair of a year. We're having a repeat of it this year, but 2017 is dumb.
Yeah. So what two
that was
games,
a wide spectrum.
Yeah, or any games rather to release on the same day.
I want this Elden Ring DLC come out alongside a new Mario game. Because I want it, like, it has to be that weird juxtaposition. It was the same era, like Doom and Animal Crossing lived side by side, and it was strangely great. So seeing Barbie Oppenheimer, I'm like, this dark, gritty plus the like, give me that.
So I have a terrible time, and this week is weird because I have played multiple games. I have a terrible time playing multiple games at the same time. I have to play to completion or play until I'm tired of it before I can start something new. So yeah, I would buy multiple games on the same day, but I'm not playing them all at once. Because like my answer would have been like, yeah, FF7 Rebirth and the new MLB The Show on the same day. But like they will both just consume me and I won't see the sunlight for 2 months because that's all I'll play. So I'd rather it'd be cool to get them all on the same day because back to the Final Fantasy X anniversary, that's today. I got that game and GTA 3 on the same day at Best Buy for like a good report card. I think that summer or something. Like
that's an awesome, great report card present.
I know, right?
You got 2 bangers?
I got 2 bangers. And I think those 2 games are so different from each other.
Absolutely.
I'm like, that's kind of the ideal situation.
You want it to be 2 different spectrums for sure. Like it can't. That's why it's so hard when we just talk Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild, and Horizon. Like those are all massive games that can take you hours upon hours because you're doing whatever you want to. I can't do 2 of those at the same time. It's just not happening.
Yeah, for sure. Cypher Primus writes, what's up, fellas? I've been playing Final Fantasy 16, loving it, by the way. And I noticed that there are a ton of side quests, probably the most on a single-player Final Fantasy game. My question is, do you think some games are getting too dense in content? I personally don't mind side quests as long as they're rewarding enough, but it feels like some developers do this to make the game longer. What do you feel would be a good sweet spot in terms of hours for a AAA RPG?
So, as we've talked about before, I don't think 16 has that many side quests. There's a lot, and there's a lot of, to and fro, but I feel like 16 hit the sweet spot of side quests, to say. Like, definitely it throws off the pacing for sure of the story. 1,000%, like, I'm not gonna take that away, but I feel like it had a good amount where the side quest did enough world building and connected you to the world, the characters, all that. At a certain point, like, there's bullshit, whatever, who cares about that? But that's any game. Ubisoft are the ones I look to where it's like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Like, anything modern day Ubisoft, stop it.
Yep.
Stop it. I think the last Assassin's Creed I played was Odyssey, and I checked out super quick. The first I did that Eagle Vision, and I just saw I was like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Too many icons on the map is scary, which is another reason why
just too big. Like, it's just a lot of landmass, and I'm like, that's impressive, but also, holy crap, am I intimidated right now by the time sink you want me to do, and I don't think I can.
And that's honestly Horizon. Like, Horizon's gigantic, and that is maybe a little too much. My issue with the 16 side quests, now that I'm thinking about it, is it's the rhythm of when they unlock. Major story beat, then you get 2 side quests. At least where I'm at in the story. You do the 2 side quests, okay.
And it's like that for a while.
Yep, it's like maybe.
Then they go, here's all of them.
Yeah. Oh, do they?
Here's
all
right,
of cool.
Them. Here's all of them, and they're all good now. All of them are good. All of them will make you attached.
Ooh, I can't wait for that. But I do miss the organic coming into a side quest. Not like, oh, hey, go talk to this person to start something on the side. Like the old school Final Fantasy stuff of figuring out, like, the wall market, right? Where how to get Don Corneo to pick you, and all those little things that you just got to do.
You didn't have to do. It didn't tell you to do.
No.
It's just things you did.
Exactly.
And stuff happened.
Yeah. Like those little kind of organic coming about it, I think would be a little bit more welcoming.
Agreed.
But some of the stuff, it does feel like, I'm not saying 16, but some games are just padding things just to have.
Yeah.
Like the exclusive quests and stuff. Like, I hate that shit. Like, it's fun, whatever, but just put it in the game. For honestly, sweet spot for a big RPG like this. Like, I don't mind. I'll play however long, but
as long as the game is engaging, I think that's the thing. As long as you're enjoying your time, like Persona 5 is 100 hours. Like, there's no getting around that. Like, I'm just like, I think at my 80-hour mark, I was feeling, I'm almost done. 25 hours still continued on. I was like, damn, there was a whole game still. But I enjoyed it. It felt rewarding. I enjoyed those hours. But the moment where you feel like, man, there's a lot of shit and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere, I think that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
If you feel like you're doing too much and it's for no reason, then it's like, this is just here to be here.
Yep.
And I don't care for it. So
agreed. This comes from Twitter at Lulian. Y'all know Sony have a second party division too, right? XDev is helping out third parties, and they asked to rank our interests in the second party games, but I'm going to read the list and you tell me, Darren, the one that you're most excited about.
You know that answer, but it's okay.
I do know the answer, and it's the same for me.
I'm excited for several, though.
So Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Rise of Ronin, Silent Hill 2, Firewall Ultra, which just got a release date today of August something. I'll look that up. Death Stranding 2, or I think both of ours, Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 or Rebirth. So maybe let's take FF7 out of it. Out of the rest, what's your most... Because, come on.
I think for me, I believe it's Team Ninja. Rise of Ronin is definitely one. And Stellar Blade. Like, just the character action games, I'm all for. Rise of Ronin. All these samurai games that are coming out with these big worlds. Yeah. I love that. I feel like there has not been enough of that over the years. So seeing them kind of just pop up with Sekiro, Ghost of Tsushima, all that. Give me that.
Yeah.
And Stellar Blade is one of those where I forget if this one is also a Chinese developed studio,
I think it
but
is.
I don't believe those games exist until one releases. Like all
Fair.
of them look too good to be true.
Uh-huh.
Stellar Blade, Wukong, like all those games that I'm like, I don't believe you until one of these comes out and I have a disc in my hand.
Mhm.
It can't be a digital only because then I'll think that they're tricking me with something else.
Uh-huh.
Like you got to prove these games are good to like exist to be good.
Yeah.
But Silent Hill, hell yeah, I'm
Mhm.
about it. Looking forward to that, and I think overall, second party studios are a major pillar of Sony in general.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
like we'll have our Last of Us's, our Ratchet and Clank,
Yep.
Ghost of Tsushima's. We'll have the first party stuff, but those are every few years. Like those will get the sprinkle effect,
Mhm.
while the second party games are what people honestly will come back for.
Yeah.
Like you'll get your system for Last of Us, for Ghost of Tsushima, for to me Final Fantasy that is first party. Like
Oh yeah.
it's second party for Square, but it's only on PlayStation, so that's a system seller in itself to a lot of
Absolutely.
people. So
Yeah, the second party and then the indies are what keep you playing throughout the year until the
absolutely.
big stuff. Also, Roman in chat says Celebrated is a Korean studio, so thanks for the correction.
Korean. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Celebrated looks great. I'm still a little bit mad at them for teasing Parasite Eve when it was first unveiled. They kept dropping Eve everywhere. I was like, don't do this to me. That's another one earlier for the limited run thing. Bring Parasite Eve. That'd be great.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Helldivers
Square will do it themselves. That's Square.
Yeah, no, that's true. Helldivers 2 looks really cool with the gameplay trailer a few weeks ago. Rise of Ronin on paper sounds amazing. I want to play it.
Fair.
I gotta know how it feels, because if it's
Yeah.
on Ghost level, I'm like, yes, please. And mixed with like the Assassin's Creed stuff, yeah, I'm in. Another genre that I'm slowly getting more into is horror. So I've never played a Silent Hill game.
Same.
I've heard 2 is the best of the bunch, so I'm excited for it. Firewall's great in VR, but my answer here is Death Stranding 2. I adore Death Stranding.
I appreciated it after it was all said and done. Because playing through it, and especially at the time I was working at FedEx, it was like work. It was just I got off of work to go to
close.
work.
Yeah,
A little bit too close to home. But
I got it.
the more I played that game and got the point of it, like I always say, Death Stranding is not a fun game.
No,
but it's very good. It is a very good game that you should experience. You won't have fun playing it, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
but once you play a certain amount of it and see what Kojima means by it being a Strand game, about the community, about the more you do and the more other people do affects everybody around you. Like once that point hit home, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Oh, this is really good. And then of course performances and everything just fucking
shout out that soundtrack too. Oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Also Firewall Ultra does have a release date of August 24th this year. So that's cool. It's a big one for PSVR 2. And finally, our last question comes from somebody called Mr. Badbit. That's weird. Never heard of him.
I haven't heard of that before.
Hi, first time, long time. Question for Kyle. I'm on the Party City site right now. What Whittle cowboy hat would you like? They got a Whittle yellow one and a Whittle brown one. Also, would you like a Whittle baby bandana as well? Because it's already looking like I'm going to pull out ahead in our Fantasy Critic League. So for those that don't know, Joe and I are going against each other in the second half of the year against Fantasy Critic. If I lose, I have to dress up as cowboy, obviously with little tiny cowboy hat. If Joe loses, he has to do his face paint like insane clown posse for a show.
Oh Lord!
I'm going to destroy him. Question for Darren: how's Kyle doing? Like prior to reading and now, is he nervous? He seems concerned. Anyways, cheers, y'all. Screw you, Joe. I didn't read that
Kyle
until now.
Is doing an excellent job. Good job. You do this. You do this,
so
Kyle.
That's the thing. Joe's like, oh yeah, Kyle's hosting. He's making a big deal out of it. I've hosted podcasts before.
See,
I've done the thing.
Prior to this, when going over the notes and everything, first of all, I'm like, I remember when we used to do notes, and I look at yours, I was like, man, I'm trying to get like y'all. Y'all professional as hell. I get the notes together and we're like, all right, here's the base point. Spitball, let's go. So
sometimes I prefer that though. Sometimes I just prefer going off of what everyone's saying, but.
But no, you are doing amazing, Kyle. Hey, thank you. You doing it, bro.
I hope everyone listening and watching feels the same. I know I can't do Joe's things, but you know what? Joe sucks, and he's gonna lose. House of Bangers. Hashtag. Remember, tweet at him. Hashtag House of Bangers. Oh boy, Darren, we're at the end of the show. What a show it's been. I'm so grateful and happy to sit down and talk games with you on content.
As am I, sir.
I can't wait to do it again soon. For those that want to, follow Rusty Rupees and you on social media and whatnot, where can they find you?
So yes, you can follow me anywhere personally at xxshadowokamiXX anywhere. That's me. If you find somebody else that you don't see this face or hear this voice, it ain't me, but that's me. And you can follow the podcast anywhere at Rusty Rupees or Rusty Rupees with 2 Y's on Twitter, because Twitter's some hoes. And yes, you find me, the boys, Justin, Cameron, Deontay, streaming over at twitch.tv/Rusty Rupees. Wednesday nights, hashtag Indie Watch with our boy Cameron. Go ahead, check him out. Hopefully his stream isn't dying, but it's a good time. Check us out. We're a good time. Come on through, join the Discord, talk shit with us. We're fun.
Hell yes, please do all the things. You know where to find me, Mr. K-Sub, everywhere. Go check out 61 Indie, which is the indie gaming stuff that I do over at 61indie.com. Our Mike and I are meeting up, I think, next weekend to film our 3rd indie showcase. I cannot believe it's number 3.
Man, there's been 3 already?
There's been 3. We already did one this year, Darren, and we're doing a second one. We're crazy.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, wait a second. I feel like I'm pretty sure y'all did something. Hey, keep it up, guys. You guys are doing amazing
Thank you.
work.
Appreciate it.
It's amazing to see every time.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm very excited. There's some really, really cool games for the showcase, so keep it locked to all that stuff. Joe will be back next week. So until then, I love you. Keep playing games, keep playing PlayStation, and play more indies, because I'm hosting. I'm going to say that. I love you.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.